to pick it back up with Aerith, who is sitting and speaking with a group of individuals about the Order of the Moon.
Yeah, most the lycanthropes, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I might as well just start at this point, and then Harold can jump in. He won't have anything for the first 5 minutes or so, at least, anyways.
He said he's on his way.
Cool. All right, so I'm gonna say you've been sitting around talking with these lycanthropes. They sort of admitted that they believe they are violent when they change, and they're seeking help with it, but they haven't known who to go to. And hearing, Loravor, this half-elven young man who you found in the City of the Dead, which is this sort of beautiful, massive cemetery slash park on the eastern side of Waterdeep, approached you and sought your help, and you met with him and a few of his friends. And I'll just quickly go around the table and describe them again just to set the scene, and then we can jump back in here. So there are 5 of them total. Across from you, directly across from you, and this is it's like a rectangular table, so there's one person at each end of the table and 2 on the long ends. It's Loravor, a ashen-haired half-elfin, I want to say like younger man, early to mid 20s most likely by the looks of it, um, and he has an admission of werewolf. He has an admission of like becoming a werewolf, he believes, and we'll get into the belief part of this because it's a little fuzzy in his mind. There is Xeris to his left, a tiefling man, blue-skinned, and he pulls out a coin as he introduces himself, and he puts it on the table, and he goes, "Tiger." Puts the coin down on the table. There's Jane Lai, across from Xeris, a half-elven woman, and she is to the right of Loravor. And she also pulls out a coin, placing it on the table, and says werewolf. Next to her is Elmnin Warmbelt, a dwarven man, also pulls out, and all of these coins, mind you, are about 3 to 4 inches in diameter. They're quite large. And he pulls out a coin and he goes, "Werebore." And you are sitting closer to him, so you can see the coin that he slaps down on the table. And he slaps it down rather forcefully, and he's a little gruffer than the rest, being a dwarf. And you can see on the coin there is the face of a boar, the head of a boar, heavy tusks, grinning, sort of it's animalistic, yet there are aspects of like it's a animalistic anthropomorphized sort of facial structure to this boar face. And then on your left, across from the dwarven man Elmnin, is Ponto Sandeman, a halfling woman, and she pulls out another coin identical to the others. All of these now that you can see are probably brass, you believe. Uh, and on this is the face of a rat, and she goes, "Where rat?" And you can see now that all 5 of these individuals are holding coins in front of them or have coins in front of them, each depicting the thing that they understand they transform into. And Loravor looks at you imploringly.
So there's a variety of change in here. Hmm.
Have you ever heard of such a thing?
I know there are many forms of what would it be called?
Lycanthropy?
It's all called lycanthropy.
Yeah. So any sort of like were-rat, were-boar, werewolf, it's all under the guise of lycanthropy, but it's distinguished by the form that is taken.
There are many forms of lycanthropy, and some have you become a rat, some have you become a boar. Strange. I do have the beginning steps to help you, but I cannot take you through your entire journey. Not all of you.
And they look at you imploringly and say, what can we do? What would be best?"
Volknar?
Oh,
Volknar?
Yes. Yes.
I can hear something through your mic. Okay. Anyway. Could I maybe? They want to know what to do. So do I know where they should start?
Um, so you could make a number of different checks to try to determine where best for them to start. I think it depends on what route you might be interested in trying to help them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Maybe I'll do a medicine check.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and
What
roll for that.
natural medicines might help? 25.
Once again, 2 in a row. Um, so your best guests. So you have experienced some level of lycanthropy in the wood where you and Zusnu are from. It has not infected Aarakocra, to your knowledge, but when it has
Okay.
infected other humanoids, you know that there are a number of natural sort of remedies that can aid in the eventual removal of the curse of lycanthropy. Um, and I take 2 damage from Harold by the looks of it. But so this specifically, it's different in each of the cases. So with like the werewolves in particular, you know that wolfsbane is required. Um, for the were tiger, you're unsure, but you suspect that there must be something similar. Same for the were boar, because you've never come across this. The were rat is one of the few things that you have heard of in your travels. Um, that in particular requires a special white flower called rat's teeth, and it's because the actual petals themselves appear to be shaped in the downward look of like rat's fangs. And so you know those two at the very least, and they help aid in the eventual removal of a curse. You've never removed the curse yourself. You've just been shown the plants as a part of your clerical training at one time.
Okay. So I think I tell that to them. You'll need wolfsbane and rat's teeth to begin the process.
And,
Mm. Are they rare?
uh, wolfsbane and rat's teeth are not necessarily very rare if you know where to look. Because you're 25, you have an idea of the types of places where you could find such things. You highly doubt that they're within the city of Waterdeep, unless they are being held by an herbalist, an alchemist, somebody of that nature.
So we'd need to find an herbalist or alchemist.
And they look at you and say, like, this is more than we thought maybe we would find. There's more to this, though. At the same time, and Lorivor holds up the coin before him, and he says, "You see, we all individually found these, and ever since we found them, that's when we've been cursed. Isn't that right?" And each one of them sort of look at you and nod in agreement. And at this, the halfling woman, by the name of Ponto, looks at you, and she's got a bit of a squeaky voice, not like that, unlike of a rat, you suspect. She looks at you and she says, "I just found it in the street, lying there, so I picked it right up." And at this, the gruff dwarf goes, "Couldn't help myself. Just staring me down. Kind of an interesting thing to find on the ground like that. So I grabbed it." And each of them in turn tells how they found it on the cobblestones of Waterdeep.
I wonder why they'd be lying about these cursed items.
And then Lorivor goes, "We've wondered the same, though we're rather loath to bring it to anyone, just in case we reveal ourselves. You see, we don't know fully what we do when we transform." And he goes on to describe an interesting thing. where when the full moon hits, regardless of where they are, regardless of the preparations they've taken, regardless of what they've done prior, and it's happened at least 4 times now, they individually end up finding themselves in a basement down in the sea ward, naked, blood, like covered in blood, and chains next to them, each of them in their own individual cells. Their clothes on a bench nearby, and a bucket of water to bathe with afterwards. And each time they transform, they have no memory of the full transformation or the actual result. The transformation itself is hazy. They each describe it individually with detail that is slightly different based on the animal's form that they take. They can see the tiger's paws forming from their hands in the case of the tiefling, for example. The 2 werewolves can feel their feet elongating, a tail sprouting, so on and so forth.
And how many times has this happened to them? Do they
And
know?
so, well, you're actually not there, Harold. You are
Oh,
back at
okay.
the bar
Sorry.
with the rest of the group. It's only Aerith.
Sure.
No, you're good. And so they describe this as happening only 4 times for them, although for Loravor it has happened 5 times. And you can sort of piece together through this, Aerith, that he found the coin first.
Okay. Do you believe that someone has planned for this to happen and taken advantage of your change of form? It seems quite convenient that they'd leave a water bucket for you to clean up in your clothes.
And they look at you and say, well, that is what we suspect. We just want it to end. And Loravor, you can see, is looking at the coin with a dark expression on his face. And he says, I've tried to rid myself of this thing many times. Thrown it out off the walls into the ocean, um, thrown it down wells, attempted to toss it into a forge one day when passing by. The next day, at dawn, I find it in my pocket once more. Sometimes warm, especially the day after the forge, sometimes cold, if it's been at the bottom of the ocean. It seems to return to me, and I can't rid myself of it. And so, we all hold our coins, ready to rid ourselves of them at any time. If only we could.
Interesting. Well,
I go, you will help us, right?
I will help. I just need more information that I do not have.
And you can see that there's this like relieved look on his face, and that it's probably actually go ahead and make an insight check.
24.
So you can see that it's for 2 different reasons at the same time. He's relieved that you're willing to help them, and he's also relieved that he has come through for the group. That those others that he
Okay,
has found
okay.
that awake from this state, he believes that they're relying on him, most likely, and they sort of look to him a little bit, probably because he has transformed at least once more than them. So nonetheless, they look at you and they say, where can we find you if we need to? And what should we do for the next moon?
Well, you can find me at I give them the address of the tavern, the Troll Skull Alley Tavern.
What did we decide to call it again? What did you guys decide to call it again?
Prestige Worldwide.
Oh, God.
Thank you.
I forgot about that.
I changed the name in my notes. Okay.
Anyway, yeah, I give them the address of the tavern, and I tell them to do what you can, but if the same thing happens again, the same thing happens again. There's no way really around it.
Okay. And they say, as you wish, and you can see that they look rather crestfallen at this, and yet because you don't necessarily have a solution for them as of yet, but you're still willing to help them, you can see that there's some level of hope in their eyes. At this, you can see Ponto, the halfling woman, and Genlai begin to shift in their seats and look at each other and say, I think it's time for us to be on our way. We have shifts that we need to get to." And Lorivor nods to them. Zaris sort of stands. Elnim puts his head in his hands for a moment, shakes it, stands up himself. They all look at you. "Thank you, Aerith, Order of the Moon. If you do help us, we are forever in your debt. Anything at all would be something. We don't know who to go to. We took a risk. Hell, this is still a risk, and yet we hope that you can help us." And one by one, they begin. Oh no, go ahead.
I hope I can help you as well, but this is a strange thing. Normally, lycanthropy is kind of tied to like you just get infected, right? It's normally not like a curse tied to a coin.
Yeah,
So,
that's right. From your knowledge, it would be significantly more like you get bit. The bite itself can be a curse. It does not turn you. It does not erase your memory, so far as you know. It does not cause you to like end up somewhere in a strange underground dungeon in the dock ward. Yeah, these are not typical pieces of information in regards to lycanthropy.
yeah, maybe I wonder if one day when the moon is full, I can watch this dungeon where you appear and see what happens. See who fills up the bucket and brings it down.
They all kind of
But
look at you and they're like, "That's we didn't know who to. I didn't want to bother my family with this." And you can see Lorivor. There's like fear in his eyes combined with hope at this because he has had this thought. You can tell, and he goes, "Yeah, I didn't know who to ask to do such a thing, but I mean." "Do you have any friends that could help you with this? I am scared that something greater than us is causing this."
I have companions who can help us.
And at
They'd
this,
have to agree to it, but they should help.
you can see that there's even more relief in their eyes. That knowing that you're not in this alone, even though you are willing to help them with their cause. And they begin to say, "Thank you." And one by one, they begin to file out. One or two of them even coming up and shaking your feathered hands before taking their exit.
Okay.
Um, is there anything else you would like to do before Lorivor takes his leave and you go about your business back to the tavern, I assume?
No, I think I just go back to the tavern.
Okay.
I think there is like I wanna find an expert on this eventually.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let me just take that down as a note. And I assume that would be one of like the things that you go about in terms of like an activity during your 10-day.
Yeah, probably that makes sense.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna jump to Harold at this point. Harold, you have missed 2 full 10 days. Did you have a chance at all to read the recap that I put together?
No, where was that?
It's in the doc. It's like the Docs and Links channel. It's not that big of a
Oh, I
deal.
guess not.
I think the
Oh, I see it
most important things I think that the group uh, did was basically they finished most of the renovations on the tavern to the point where I believe you guys are going to open the tavern within this next 10-day. Is that correct?
I think so. I think that was the plan.
Yeah.
We had the plumbing, we had like the lighting, we had the carpenters.
Yeah, I think last time we met, you said we had most of the things checked off the list at that point.
Yeah, I think that's right. And in regards to like the list at this point, most everything is just making those like quality of life updates. If there's things that you want to like make better for yourselves, for your guests, you can always dump more gold into the tavern. Prestige worldwide, spruce it up.
Do we install like a stage? Are we gonna hire like a bard at some point? Do we want to have like live entertainment?
Oh, we
I
need a
think
bar.
you are the bard, Zeusanu.
I'm the cook.
Okay.
You're gonna be everything.
Yeah. I mean, you probably got high performance, so you could do a little. You could do a little something.
I wouldn't be opposed to finding a bard and
Yeah, I
having
think me and
a
Alistair are
local.
the same charisma.
We could ask that Vault. That was it. Volo? Is that his? That guy?
Alistair will not be performing. He lives in the shadows.
Yeah, I mean I've got a +4 to performance. So
Has
I
Harry
have
heard
to,
back
I have
from
to practice an instrument.
that lady that was like telepathically summoning us one of the first sessions?
You have not heard back from Savra, or sorry, Vajra Saraf.
Yeah, because Harry left her a little like gift and seemed to have a liking to her, but I think failed all of his charismatic approaches.
Yeah,
That
you've
sounds
not heard anything else
familiar.
from her at this time.
Okay.
It sounds vaguely
the-
familiar now that you mention it.
Is there anything that like Harry would have been working on? Like I know, like so for example, Alistair, or no, excuse me, Zeusanu was working with Fala Coralon, or at Coralon's crown to become a healer.
Yeah, Harry is all about offense, so if anything, he would have been using spells that he knows.
I bet there's like a wizard-based feat that you could be like working towards.
Yeah, maybe.
Is there like an element that you wanna like focus on, or are you gonna do like
I
just
did
everything,
at first,
just
but then I
murdering everyone?
realized that like all the different elements were all
Yeah, you
fully
have access
represented.
to them
So I was
all.
just like, I'll just do all the elements. Like, just be kind of focus on elements like firebolt, ice knife, thunder waves, stuff like that. No, I think what Harry would have been doing was just doing this. I think I mentioned it the last session I was here was just like scouting the area, trying to make what would they be? Like in friends, like informants, and making scouting the area, see like who like the locals of the immediate surrounding things are.
And friendly
Visiting
with
the
the
different
guards.
taverns. Yeah, he was definitely after the two gangs. In my notes, Lord. The guys with
Damn.
The
the
Zentrum
because I
and the
had it
Xanathars.
because yeah, those guys, because Harry had the he found the pages of like the what would we call those, like the log pages from in the dungeon. So he was going to try to like leverage that as either blackmail or use it as a like we could hit this and like rob from them if we knew the
Gotcha. Okay.
It was so either or.
So I'm actually going to ask for a few different checks from you because I believe I asked for one event originally, which was like an intelligence check to decode it, to like understand it. So go ahead and give me that again.
So intelligence.
Yeah.
Uh, 13.
Okay. It's not. You begin to piece together bits and pieces of the code that they have going on here. Um, a lot of it's abbreviations, like, and they're kind of nonsensical abbreviations, and you begin to pull them apart, tease them apart. Specifically utilizing what you know to be the warehouse where you found Renair Neverember. You can find that in the notes, and you actually begin to use that as like a key to try to like decode what's going on here. Go ahead and also give me. I'm gonna say give me a persuasion, or give me an investigation check, and then give me a persuasion check on top of it.
So 19 for investigation and an 18 for the persuasion.
Nice.
Okay, cool. Um, So there's two things here. One is that there are plenty of different characters around Troll Skull Manor, first and foremost, or Prestige Worldwide, who may be of interest to you in some way, shape, or form. They would include an individual called Emic Froon, who's down the street. He's an Aluskan man. So Aluskan being one of the cities to the north, similar to Neverwinter, although Neverwinter and Luskan are specifically sort of rivaled, usually at all times. Um, and he is attempting. You learn that he's attempting to open his own sort of tavern down on the other end of Troll Skull. You don't see the guild members going in and out, and in fact, during this time, you learn that he has spurned some of the guilds. There is, let me see,
Unlike us.
unlike you exactly, an interesting individual within Troll Skull Alley who you might strike up a conversation with at some point, and we can use your persuasion check for this if you so wish, would be Vincent Trent, a human detective who owns the Tiger's Eye. He, when you do meet him briefly, he speaks concisely, dresses in a sharp suit, and smokes a slim pipe, but he is only visible in public for fleeting moments at time. It feels like he's kind of a bit of a shut-in and quickly goes back inside, like if he has to go out to the market, for example. There is the Bookworm's Treasure, and specifically there is a short dragonborn of gold dragon ancestry named Rashal the Page Turner, and he's got like little spectacles. He's probably the size of a dwarf, funny enough. So many dragonborn that you have ever met have usually been quite tall, 6'3", 6'10", whatever. They can be usually big and bulky. This guy though is like stocky, short. He might be of interest to you. And then there would be Volknar has specifically struck up conversations with like the guards and whatnot. So if there's anything there, we can jump into that. There is one other thing as well, but I'll wait, seeing how you would like to do this.
So let me think then. If so I got the detective, the rival tavern guy, and I do have a fond likening to dragonborns for some primal reason. But,
Just a little voice in the back of Harry's head.
let's see. I think either the tavern or the detective though. But I think if at one point Harry were ever to catch a glimpse of Vincent Trent stalking about the area, he would quickly try to walk over to him and try to grab his ear.
Okay. And you're actually able to do so. So your persuasion check is able to stop him in his tracks, catch his attention, and you introduce yourself. And he introduces himself back. Do you put out your hand or anything to shake hands or anything of that nature?
No.
Okay.
Harry kind of like bows as an introduction.
Gotcha. And he actually bows back to you and says, "Good day. How can I help you?"
Vincent, I've heard a lot about you and your excellent work here in the area. Seems like you are the type of guy that can want to be found.
And he kind of looks at you, a discerning eye, and he goes, "Do you have business for me? If so, I can offer you to enter my shop." Sort of points down the alley.
Yeah, you have a place down here?
Yes, yes, follow me. And you see that he begins to walk towards his home, which is, let me see, it's sort of around the corner and 3 buildings to the west. And he leads you inside, and inside is an unremarkable, so it looks unremarkable on the outside, and its only distinguishing mark is an orange and black sign featuring a cat's eyes. As you step inside, you find a regal apartment dimly lit by flickering oil flames, which he then turns up slightly. He then ushers you inside, and actually locks and latches the door with like 4 different locks and latches, and you begin to get this sense of paranoia from him as you step inside. There's no threat or danger from him so far as you can tell, but it is odd. He points you to a really plush looking, I don't know how to describe it other than like a massive beanbag chair, and he takes a seat in a similar one, and he curls up in a way that is potentially like ever so reminiscent of a cat.
This guy's a human.
Yes.
Um, Harry would sit down, make himself comfortable,
Okay, he
and
does
look
so.
around and
And
say, like, what do you do with the place?
he nods. He says, "Thank you much," and he knocks some of his pipe ash into a little tray that you see is near his chair, his like beanbag chair. And he goes, "So, present your problem. I can tell you if I can help you."
Well, I don't necessarily have a problem yet per se, but we're just me and my buddies. We've opened up Prestige Worldwide right across a old rundown place that we're trying to make a well-established, nice place.
And he gives you
You
a
heard of
swift
it?
he gives you a swift look up and down, and he goes, "I've noticed."
You are you a tavern-going guy? Feel free to stop
Oh,
by anytime.
not typically, but I will not do your invitation disservice. I will stop by at some point when you're open.
Very much. If you come in, mention that I invited you, and have a nice meal and a drink on me.
And he nods appreciatively.
And Harry would continue to just basically explain that him and his buddies are an adventuring group that that could use his services here and there, and that that he was also willing to return the favor because we are potentially a nefarious group. If he ever needed assistance in any of his line of work, we could probably work together.
He sort of arches an eyebrow eventually as you explain all of this. Doesn't necessarily cock his head, but tilts it ever so slightly, looking at you, raised eyebrow. Notices that there is a stray hair on his suit and brushes it away. And as you look at him do this, you realize he's got quite a fine suit on. And he says, "Partnership, adventuring parties. I don't normally pair with the sort, but the fact that you've come here, that you're around the corner, I've been watching you over the past several days. You seem a stand-up group. You're in order with the guilds, may I add. Quite fine, quite fine. I'll keep it in mind. And if you need anything, maybe we can strike a deal. For now, I have no work, but if I do, I will potentially contact you.
Very good.
Is there anything else I can help you with?"
Want to tell me a story? There, you would ask like what kind of what like his normal type of like work would be.
Roll a
Like if
persuasion check
if it
for
would
that.
like if it would align with what he thought,
Yeah, yeah.
I
Go ahead
might
and roll a
help with it.
persuasion check for that for sure.
Persuasion.
Yeah.
Ooh, 18.
Okay. Damn, flat 18. That's pretty good.
Everyone's rolling hot.
Yeah. He kind of gives you a look and then a bit of a laugh, and he goes, "All right. I don't normally tell too many stories about my clientele. Mind you, no names ever. But," and he launches into 3 quick stories in quick succession. The first one being of uh, a noblewoman asking him for help to hunt down the mistress of her husband, so that she could confront her, and he was able to do this very easily. He goes on to describe a situation where um, he was helping one of the gangs. Funny enough, he was helping the Xanathar's gang, specifically to determine where where one of their members had come from, but he does not go into any more detail than just that there was an individual who was new to the gang that he sort of looked into. He doesn't even give you like time frames for these things. It could have been 10 years ago for all you know, because he looks like he's in his 40s or 50s, late 40s or 50s. And so, like, none of this is like It's all just generic, no specifics. And then he also tells you of um, a cultist he once found who was kidnapping people and attempting to feed them to some sort of like demon portal.
Okay. So the Xanathar gang, is that related to my maps at all? Or my logs, I mean? That would be those opposite groups. I keep getting them mixed up. What is it?
The Xanathars and the Zentarim. And the log that you have is of the Zentarim gang.
Right, the rival gang. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. I'll keep that in mind. Okay. And then the last thing he would ask him would be about what he thought of that woman. What was her name? And
Vajra.
Vajra, yeah.
Um,
Just ask what he thinks about her.
can I get one more persuasion check for the turn of
Persuasion. Yeah.
just for the turn of conversation once more?
Yeah. 8.
And he looks at you in surprise and goes, "The Black Staff? I have no opinion on the Black Staff. She's an appointed position of the city, rather like one of the magistrates. People say she's strong, powerful. I've seen her in the company of certain young nobles. She supposedly comes from a noble house herself. No opinion on her, though. Why do you ask?"
I met her once and she seemed like a real nice lady.
He actually pulls out a notebook at this and he goes, "Interesting. Well noted."
He goes, well, what are you writing over there?
He goes, "Oh, always good to have more information." And he puts the notebook back into his suit pocket. You can see that it like fits easily without being distinguished like above, um, through the jacket breast essentially.
Yeah, I very much like information too. Harry continues and says, I might have a little other information that you might be able to use to, and maybe as a gesture of goodwill to start or forge a potential partnership here. We were continuing what we were talking before, and would offer to not give him, but like mention the log that he has that I have,
Oh,
and see if
okay.
that perks his interest.
Okay. Um, he looks at you and he goes, "I did not realize that you were coming here to not only offer your services, but to sell potential goods as well." And he kind of eyes you up and down. Make an insight check.
13.
Okay, that's enough to realize that he is interested in the log on some level. He says, "Do you want coin for it or something else?"
Well, I think if my suspicions are correct, I think it could be much more valuable information than it would be to sell. Implying that he's trying to think of how to use it, um, you know, a
Okay,
scheme of some sort.
okay. And he kind of looks at you and says, "Interesting."
Meaning, then he would then Harry would ask him, like, do you know anyone that could use this information?
I do, though I'm not sure they're quite the type that I would prefer to deal with personally. Mind you, if I make connections with them, I would need to first we need to ensure the veracity of such a thing to be real. And you can see that he's like eyeing you up and down, looking for wherever you might have the log hidden on you.
All right. At this point, Harry would just try to say like keep in touch, come by. Like I said, invitation to the place is open, and if you ever need any help, and if I come across anything specific that requires your services, stay in touch and try to end the conversation. Try to get out of there.
Sure. Sure, he says, as you wish. And he stands, empties his pipe, puts it on the little table next to him, steps over to the door, unlocks the several different locks, and opens it for you and says, good day, Mr. Harold Alcantara. May I see you eventually at Prestige Worldwide?
It's a pleasure to meet you, sir. And he bows and leaves.
And you can hear the door close, the multiple different locks clicking into place as you walk away. Okay, so back to that quick investigation check that you did. The 19 is actually good enough to realize that there are one or two individuals skulking about the alley at different times. Um, One of them appears to be some sort of gnome, but you only get a fleeting glance of him before losing sight of him down one of the other corners, essentially. And one of them appears to be elven in nature, but you're not fully sure of anything beyond that.
Just meaning like I've seen them more than once or noticed them like frequent. Is that what you mean?
Each
Or
one
what do
you've
you mean
seen
by it?
once individually.
Okay.
Um,
Just stood out to me as being
yeah.
okay.
And it was at strange hours. They were sort of hiding behind barrels, ducking behind alleys, and then like they noticed you noticing them and ran off basically.
Okay.
Um okay, so besides that, is there anything you would like to do, Harold? Across that would definitely be at least one of the 10 days, and if there's something else for the second 10 day in particular, you can try to do that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Alistair, Victor, Volknar, Zeusanu, anything before we jump into the grand opening of the tavern?
So has Zeusnu been cooking food like this whole time?
I guess so.
Oh, Victor.
I guess yeah. If I'm gonna be cook for the tavern, I guess it makes sense that I've been cooking for
Yeah.
us the whole time, like
Well,
practicing and shit.
Victor, I assume he'd be able to smell what you're cooking from the basement, and he would strut up the stairs, and what's going on up here?
Well, I mean, big
Uh,
question. Were you wrestling before or no?
Oh,
Are you
I
sweaty?
will. Oh, absolutely sweaty, worked up an appetite, burning calories like crazy down there.
Zeus News just putting the finishing touches on I guess the new Prestige Worldwide signature dish.
Oh,
Puts out a
Legit.
couple. Yeah. What what do we think? Do we want it to be?
Is it rat
Or
burgers?
stew or something.
oh yeah, some
Yeah, I got a nice like a fancy stew.
mystery meat maybe, or
Stew makes sense. That seems like
Yeah.
feels appropriate for a tavern.
well, I mean, do you need someone to try it out?
Yeah, put a couple bowls of stew down for Victor
Alright.
and Volknar.
Nice.
Yeah, just finish the new stew. You guys want to try it out? Let me know what you think.
Absolutely. Is there can we roll? Can we like see if it's good?
Oh
Picture
yeah,
him
check
using
it
a
out.
step stool to get it from the pot. 'Cause it's so
I'll say
small.
this. So Zeusanu, go ahead and make a gosh. You could do medicine check. You could do a number of different things. It's up to you.
It's a big roll.
Yeah, for cooking, I guess medicine makes the most sense.
Yeah, go for it.
Let's see what happens. 18.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Heck yeah.
So you actually start with a base of a roux, and then you begin to toss in tomatoes and spices and plenty of meats, whatever that might be, whatever you're particularly interested in, and put together quite a nice stew. I don't know if it's necessarily to the likings of Victor or Volknar, but it is pretty well made.
Oh yeah, Vic,
Go
yeah.
For a bird
pork-based
person
for
or
the
for a
protein.
human?
I suppose I would have known that it would have been mostly human, so I would have cooked with a human palate in
Yeah.
mind.
Oh yeah, Victor has terrible table manners, so he's like a slob, but he enjoys it.
Gotcha.
Also, while Zeusanu has Victor here, He wanted to ask him if he could show him how to use a shield.
You want to know how to use a shield?
Yeah, I feel kind of squishy in combat. A nice little like buckler
Okay.
or something on my arm might help me feel a little
What's
safer.
what's Zeus News strength? Are you like
Only 8. So like maybe
okay?
you know, tiny
Victor,
little shield.
I'm sorry, but Victor's gonna have to look at you and laugh. He he just laughs. He is, yeah.
Pretty bird man can't pick up shields.
Yeah.
It's the hollow.
Well, maybe hey, Zeus knew. Maybe you know what? Come down to the basement sometime, and I'll show you some workouts you can do. Maybe pull some meat on them feathers, and then we'll get you with a shield. But it's well, maybe you'd have to start with a toddler shield, maybe, and work your way up
Practice
from there.
shield, like
Yeah.
an inflatable shield.
Yeah.
To get used to the size.
Yeah. You'll get there.
Cool. So, is there anything else anyone would like to do around the tavern or around the city before we open the tavern?
Can I roll to see if I like it or not? The soup.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna say because it's like, it's like cooking or whatever. So, and it was well made. It's more up to you if you like the flavors.
Yeah.
Do orcs like human food?
Yeah. I mean, you're half orc, so it's
Yeah.
it's all the same thing.
Oh, okay. Sure, I'll like it. I'm gonna advertise this. The
Nice.
stew is gonna be bomb.
Gotcha. That would be a roll if you want to do persuasion to, like, let's say this is like a day or two before, opening. So if you want to roll persuasion for that, you're more than welcome to do so.
Sure. Ooh, a 9.
So going around and just telling people that like you're gonna have some bomb stew, is like both encouraging to a few people, and then a few other people are like, "There's not even a tavern there yet. How do you know you're gonna have bomb stew?" But it goes over probably better than you would expect, considering the day that you're telling everyone is very cold. Because just a reminder, it is winter. That's actually for Harold. We rolled. I think it was at the beginning of the last session, and determined that it was actually like you were in the depths of winter at this point.
Yeah. All right.
Waterdeep.
Perfect
How long
for
does
opening a
winter
tavern.
season last in the? In
It's
this
it's one. The depths of winter are. It's like I would say Waterdeep is probably similar to New England or like New York or New Jersey in terms of weather. Not
Harry
horrific
definitely
blizzards.
wants to go hunting for a big elk to put on the menu opening day.
For reals?
Yeah.
I'd get behind that.
Yeah, I'd hunt. No, I'd
We
hunt
need
an
to go
elk.
on a hunting
Or
party and go look for some
hunt for something.
Group
some
field
good
trip.
game,
Group field
Yeah,
trip.
some nice fresh meat.
so we can have
do it.
so we can have a good opening day. Plenty of
Okay.
food.
Fresh kills.
All right.
Night before.
The night
Susan who
before.
claps Harry on the
Just-
back and thinks
just
he
enough
came up
time.
with a great idea.
The day before.
Day before, yeah, the day before. Just
Yeah, we
enough
want it
time to get
fresh.
it all prepped and be.
I believe
ready to
hunting
go.
is done early morning.
It is, but crack of dawn.
Okay. You guys get your winter gear together. You set off towards the crack of dawn the day before the tavern is supposed to open. You leave Grub in charge of the stew in particular.
Uh-oh.
And you set off. Which direction would you like to go? North, east, or south?
Roll
Harry,
for it.
Harry, you're
rolling
from
for
here.
it.
Where
I'm
are all
rolling
the
the
elves?
D4. North, south, east, west.
I don't think we can go west.
South.
South. Okay. I'm just
That's
pulling
sick.
up a
We
map.
walk into the
Already-
ocean.
Yeah, right.
We're
Wherever
going
there's
fishing
wood,
now, boys.
wherever there's a woodland area.
Okay, so there's a map of Waterdeep here I just found, or like the surrounding area. So south of Waterdeep is going to be a bunch of foothills, sort of like, yeah, that'll be fine. Let me just do this. Okay, so half a day's travel out. You can go out into some of the foothills. You pass several farms on your way out. You continue onwards to a spot where, Harold, you have heard hunters will gather to try to find elk, or in particular in this area, it's either deer or moose. Um, but you can go ahead and roll, or whoever would like to can try to make a survival check to see if you can either find tracks or traces of any of the animals.
I got a +3 survival.
Are there any
Seven.
are there any animals around? Is there like a bird and a tree I can ask?
Make a perception check.
Ooh, 9.
Regardless, let's let you roll, but I'll help. So can we give him advantage if we all help?
Yeah, because you're looking for tracks along the way. So,
Yeah.
so for survival.
Everyone's looking for everyone. Everyone's looking for the animal. But I rolled a 9 of my perception.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a moment. And then so at advantage for the survival check, Volknar.
Yeah, I did that. I got a 15.
Okay.
Okay. So the perception check.
Oh wait,
Um,
no, did I? What did
Oh,
I-
it's the regular.
Roll it one more time.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what it was.
Oh,
Well,
now you rolled it 3
Yeah.
times.
That's fine.
Oh, did I?
Oh, you're good. You're good. One of them was a
No
20.
more
That's a
rolls.
good sign.
So for the perception check, Zusnu, you don't see any birds near enough by, or any animals near enough by. You suspect that most of the things are kind of hibernating at this point for winter.
Oh,
There's
it is
not a
winter.
there's not a ton of snow on the ground, but like there's like 6 inches randomly on the ground. Um, the birds are far away in trees. You're in like not an open field, but it's sort of like rolling hills with pockets of forest in between, and so there's not a lot of animal life sort of just like out in the open at this time. You do see a hawk sort of circling up above, but it's quite a ways off. In regards to the
I don't feel like
survival
chasing
check,
the hawk.
in regards to the survival check, you'd see tracks of 3 deer, quite fresh, and you begin to follow them. You suspect that they're about half an hour away.
Sweet, let's follow him. Any objection?
Yeah, let's split up into 2 groups and try to flank them.
I'll take to
One
the
group
air.
follow the
see if I
trail,
can-
and then one group try to loop around.
Okay.
Double our eyes too.
Should one bird with each group, so each group can have eyes in the sky.
Love it.
Okay. And who would like to do survival checks for each group?
I got a +2. I can. Is anyone else beside? I can lead one, unless
I have a
someone else
plus.
is higher than
I have a
2.
+3.
You can
What are
lead
we?
then.
What are we currently doing?
Hunting.
We're hunting.
We're gonna
the
go
tavern.
hunt.
Hunt for the for fresh meat for the opening tomorrow.
do you have a good survival, Aerith? Because you got wisdom, right?
Let me check.
Probably have the highest in the group.
All right, then
What
have
are-
the two different birds lead 2 different groups.
That works.
I have a +4.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, so
So
the 2 birds lead the 2 different groups.
go ahead and roll survival checks, please, both of you.
An 8.
Oh my God.
Wonderful.
8 and an
We
8.
both roll an 8.
Okay. So taking
the
off into
feather.
the air, it takes a bit of time, but you are both able to, around the same period of time, able to find where you believe these deer have sort of bedded down under some sort of fir tree, some sort of hemlock or pine tree. And you're able to go back to your respective groups and like point out where the deer are. Those of you who have been out now in the cold, it's a little after midday. Everyone, please take 1 point of exhaustion.
How do you do that?
I don't know how to do that either.
Conditions like right underneath your HP.
Oh, okay. Exhaustion 1. Oh, okay. All right.
Whoa.
Underneath your HP, I don't see it.
Yeah, so it's
Oh, the box to the right.
it's a box below, right next to defenses. is conditions, and if you
Oh.
click on it, it'll open up a tab.
So I
You
just
go down
made
to
Oh,
the very
nice.
bottom.
All
Aerith, I
right.
just made you exhausted at one point if you'd want to keep it.
Okay.
All right. So the deer have been spotted. You are like 200 or 300 yards away from them at this point in time. What would you guys like to do as a group?
Have they seen us yet?
So far as you know, they have not.
What direction is the wind going?
Make a perception check.
I feel like as a bird person.
Yeah, no, it was just making sure not you didn't like totally flub it. You actually pick up like a little bit of snow and sort of like let it fall off your hand, and it's going away from the deer, or sorry, going from the deer towards you, so you're downwind.
Perfect.
Oh, that's good. Perfect. All right, let's sneak our way get closer.
Yeah, Alistair will try to sneak closer to get a better shot.
Can the two groups see each other, like in the
Yeah,
distance?
you guys are like 100
Okay.
yards away, like on opposite sides, sort of like going towards the deer together.
Nice. Good opportunity to work on our hand signal game.
Yeah.
I guess I turn back to the group and put a finger up to my lips and like the shh motion. Kind of
Nice.
mime sneaking while I'm flying through the air.
Okay. Go ahead and roll for any individual thing. So like Alistair, if you're gonna sneak, so on and so forth.
I'm gonna ready a crossbow shot for when I see someone make one of the boys on the ground make a move.
Ooh, 24.
Oh, I am not a stealthy bird.
Okay. So what is the composition of the groups?
Oh, I'll be with Zusanu.
Okay.
Names. So how much? What are we? 3 and 3.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
figure we could do Aerith, Alistair, and Victor, and then Volknar, Zusnu, and Harold.
Sure.
That works.
Okay. Volknar, Zusanu, and Harold. So can I actually just get stealth checks for Aerith and Victor as well? If you're going to sneak up on.
Oh wait, I gotta roll disadvantage. So 10.
Okay.
Wait, why did we roll disadvantage?
I'm wearing my my armor.
Okay. So Zusanu, Volknar, and Harold. The three of you begin sneaking towards the deer, and you actually begin to spook them ever so slightly. Who was it that was preparing a shot?
I was preparing a crossbow shot at him.
Yeah, Alistair was too with his short bow.
Okay. So the two of you, if you would like, you can take them. There are 2 bucks and a doe. The larger of the 2 bucks is quite big. Believe it's more than 10 points. The smaller of the two is probably only like 6 or 7 or 8 points. Which one, which deer you
How
would like
many
to
feet
aim at?
away is this? Would you say
They're
before they got spooked?
You guys get within about 100 feet, I'm gonna say.
I say
So
we go for the big boy.
I have a javelin too. My throw range is 30, 120.
That's good.
Okay, so can I be like holding my javelin, sneaking up on the deer too?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, Volknar, you get closer, but you don't get close enough to use the 30-foot range. So when you attack, you'll have to use disadvantage for the 120-foot range.
Okay.
And Harry used magic missile.
You totally can use magic missile.
I'll let them go first. Oh, do we
wait,
roll? Who goes first?
are we going for the big boy,
I say we
You
go
guys
for
were
the
ready.
10-pointer.
You guys were ready. You guys go first.
or at least
Yeah.
like the guys in my team? Are we going for the big boy? I don't know. Or can we
Yeah.
all hit the same ones, like both teams?
I don't see why not.
Okay.
You just pick one and go for it.
Alright, cool.
Yeah,
let's
go ahead and make an
For the
attack
big
roll
boy.
if you'd like.
Yeah, you might.
Yeah, I
might
feel
not
like
kill
all
him,
of
but
us
you
would
get
have
a
seen
damage
them.
boost.
Been like, I'm going for the big guy.
Woohoo!
Nice.
Big roll.
Okay. Can you guys also roll damage, please?
Ooh, 10 points of damage.
We were 9
Alistair,
points from
go
me.
ahead and also roll damage. Okay. So if you guys are all going for the big one, you take it down without issue. And it's this combination of crossbow bolt, javelin, and arrow all simultaneously like whipping through the air. And it's the crossbow bolt hits first, followed by the arrow. And then as the deer is like going down, you just see the javelin whip through the air and go straight through the heart of this creature.
Another kill
fact-
for Volknar.
to the point where like you can like probably like carry the deer with the javelin that is now sticking through it partially.
Good
And
thing
so
of a head
this deer goes down. The other two are sprinting, turn around and immediately sprint in the opposite direction, and are running away.
We got our kill boys. We got deer stew.
Well, I mean, we should get as much meat as we can, shouldn't we?
I
This
think
one ought to be enough.
you think we're gonna be able to catch those deer?
They probably got spooked as soon as they saw the one deer get annihilated.
Yeah, but I'm up in the air. I have a
I'm
range.
feeling
of
very
every-
tired being here.
Yeah. Ugh.
They're just like sprinting away from you guys at this point.
Are they
Alright.
uncatchable?
I don't know. Depends.
Harry wants to shoot magic missiles.
All
Do
right.
you?
well,
Yeah, I'm
I
gonna
can-
take a
so
shot while they're leaving.
I
See
would-
if I can hit
I
one.
would use whatever range. If this is like a combat turn, I would use all my thing to run forward and then shoot my magic missiles.
Give me a moment. And what is the range on magic missile?
120.
Okay, so as they begin to get out, like before they get out of range, you can unleash your magic missiles on one of them if you would like to.
How many do I get? Right, it's shoot.
well, I
I
think
get-
we're going into a long rest after this.
Yes. 3 glowing
I think I get.
darts.
Yeah, I think I get 3 of them. All right, I'm gonna shoot all 3 at. Can I do like 2 and 1?
Yeah, you totally can.
All right, I'll do 2 at one of them and 1 at the second, and try to take them both out. So the first 2 will be 3, a 3, so 6 on one of them, and then come on, stupid screen. Ooh, and then 4 on the second one.
Okay, you actually take them both down.
Oh.
All right, and so with your magic missiles, you can see them, thump, thump, and you just see these deer fall over dead.
Nice boys.
Well, I guess that's one way of doing it.
Lucinu just quacks in victory.
Okay, how are you guys gonna get it back to the city?
Big
What's
boy,
like the
Victor.
what's the weight of these bad boys? Like,
So
there's 2
let me
small
just-
ones. Are there 2 small ones?
We're gonna tie ropes around
like-
each of their necks and have Victor around their waist and drag them.
Are there trees around? Can we make a little like sled type thing?
Like a sled.
Well, since the javelin is through the heart and we can pick it up, like Volknar's gonna be in the front with like the javelin on his shoulder, deer in the back, and someone else
Almost
can
like
put
on
it-
a spit. You can have
Is,
like
the,
2
is the
people
javelin long
Gotta
enough
skewer.
to skewer all 3 of
skewered.
them?
Yeah.
Okay, so the doe, which is the smallest of the 3, probably weighs 100 pounds, 100 to like 110. The largest easily weighs probably as much as Volknar, if not more. Volknar,
Damn.
I assume you're like
Dang.
6'4", 250 or something.
That sounds good.
Yeah. The massive buck is about the same as you, whereas the other buck is like 175, 180.
All right, so I
Dang.
think we got to build an apparatus, like we said. Cut down a few limbs, build like a sled, and we're gonna have to drag it back.
Yeah.
And
Chop it up
yeah.
into pieces and divide it among us or something.
Well, I definitely want to keep. We got to keep the head of the big one, and we're gonna put it above the fireplace for.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm gonna do the javelin over my shoulder, and then someone else has the javelin over their shoulder, and the dough's between us, and we're just gonna
Ooh,
carry it back.
that's
So
classy.
whoever wants to do it. Or do we need strength checks? I mean,
I'm
I feel like we
definitely gonna
might
need
need
a
the
strength
strong
check.
boys carrying like the sled that we build.
I can drag a sled. I'm like a full-blown human. I'm not a scrawny guy.
That's a
Sled
stealth
of a
check.
dough with a dough on it.
oh, that's a stealth. Oh, I hit the wrong one. There we
Actually,
go.
I'm not strong.
Oh, that's a saving throw. Damn it.
Probably
The
ends up
bad
being
game,
almost the
UGK,
same.
Come on.
Oh no.
Are we
Can a
doing?
9 carry a dough?
I mean, you can
Drag
lift
a
it,
dough.
but
Drag a
y- y-
dough. I mean.
yeah. So like attaching a rope and like
Yeah, I'm
dragging
just
it,
gonna
or
drag
like
it. I'll drag one
yeah.
of the doughs with my 9.
You're gonna get pretty tired doing that, but it is possible. Volknar, you're gonna have a lot of trouble with that 12.
I'm gonna help Harry with my 2.
He's-
Very helpful.
Okay.
I'm gonna
So-
tie a rope around the.
Do
the
I have
rope
to
on my-
step in
my
and
blades
help
and fly.
too?
We gotta get this meat back.
I think if we have Victor and Volknar carry the giant one on the javelin between them, and we build a sled, I think the rest of us can pull it together with the 2 smaller
With
ones.
2 doughs on it. I think so.
Yeah.
Too.
Let's do
Can
that.
a javelin support like a 250-pound beast?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. It's just like a snap in half.
All right, who's got an axe? Who's gonna help us chop down some trees and get some branches and shit?
I mean, I have a great axe.
Get to chopping.
Okay, I can start
Has Victor
chopping
become
before.
a carpenter yet? Can he build something pretty good?
You have some skills for sure, Victor. But you know it's gonna be rough regardless, considering you don't have worked lumber.
It doesn't. I mean, it just needs to get us from here.
Yeah,
to,
enough to survive one trip. That's all we're looking for here.
How's this? I would take some sort of creation check from Victor for the sled. I would take some sort of tree chopping check from Volknar. And then if the rest of you are assisting them, they can have advantage on some way.
Like
Sounds
a
about
strength
right.
check.
So, what's the roll? Like, would that be like an athletics check?
Athletics?
Yeah.
Athletics?
I don't know. I mean, probably Dex is probably the.
Yeah, I'm like
maybe?
leaning towards sleight of hand. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing for me. So I'll just
Okay.
At least you have advantage.
advantage. Let's. Nah, I got 11. So.
Okay.
I got a 13 sleight of hand.
Okay. So you guys are able to chop down, or you're able to gather enough wood. You're able to put together this sled that's sort of like lashed together. It's not a great sled, but you're able to put the deer on it. You lash the deer down to it, and you can attach it to 2 or 3 of you, depending on however many you would want, and you can begin to trudge through the snow back to Waterdeep. It is going to be slow going, so it is going to take you a while to get back to Waterdeep, probably after dark.
That's fine.
Yeah. We got to do it.
You know what we were doing. You knew what we
Okay.
were getting ourselves into.
Alrighty. You do so, and you arrive at Waterdeep after dark. I'm gonna say at this point it is roughly like 6 or 7 p.m. The sun sets, relatively early in the winter, and you come to the gates from the southern gates, and you. Let me just double check something really quick. You pass by multiple different city guards, who are the individuals who patrol the roads leading to Waterdeep, watch the walls, and guard civic structures. But but as you get to the gate, you can see that they are close to closing it for the night, and they have stopped all incoming cart traffic. But it's not a problem because carts, there aren't like, there's like one or two carts that are just like filing in towards the end of the day. You haven't seen any along the roads with you. Um, and they are kind of looking at you as you begin to come up to the gate warily.
I want to fly forward and see if I can talk to the guards and convince them to hold the gate while we pull these.
Also, can I say that like on the way back, like when we're on the way back to town, I think I want to bring up the fact that the whole lycanthropy thing, like how I met these people who are dealing with it, and I was wondering if I could get some help in the group.
You know some werewolves?
Well, some are were rats and were hogs, but yes,
So if he was
I
at, if
met
he,
a werewolf.
Yes, your tale sounds like not any coincidence.
Uh,
think it's a trap?
no, not a trap. No way.
Then I'll help. I'll go on a watch with you if you explained your the plan.
Yeah. I tell them about how they wake up and like they wake up in an underground dungeon thing. So we can do that together. We can do a watch.
You know,
Yeah,
you
Harry
just have
would volunteer
to
to
ask
go.
for help, cousin.
He'd be interested in that. Piques his interest.
Got it. Thank you.
Let's get back to Prestige Worldwide. We got some cooking to do.
And as you come to the gates, you are eyed by the city guard. And it's the guard that stand on the gates and they patrol a lot. But the city watch themselves are sort of like, it's like the difference between like the army and the police officers. So the city guards are the army, whereas the city watch are the police officers. So the city guard are like on the walls and at the gates and everything. And they sort of just like watch you and they go, "Oh, nothing else to declare." Oh, you're all citizens of Waterdeep, as one of you might end up flashing um, your note. They just sort of like wave you inside, and they actually don't even care that you have all this deer that's like bled out through the snow, and you're like dragging these like deer carcasses, and there's this like streak of red behind you. And you get back eventually to Prestige Worldwide. What would you like to do with your 3 deer bodies?
We gotta start chasing
Head
them
on
down.
top of the fireplace.
Fellas, does anybody know how to like gut or like skin these things?
I was just thinking that.
Yes. I my time in the army, I can do some field dressing.
Okay.
Sure.
I was in the army
Cool.
too. Yeah, I think I can do that too. I'm an orc. I'm a half orc. I got.
I mean, Zeus'un will be there for like moral support, but he doesn't know how to do any of that.
Well,
He knows how to cook.
Alistair
Yeah,
just
he
like
was
drops
a
his
noble.
portion and is like, well, great. Seems like you guys got this handled. And just like walks away.
Hey, go check on Grub Grub. Sure he didn't burn the place down.
Okay. So leaving the deers in the yards, the sort of courtyard there in front of Prestige Worldwide, you go into the tavern, and Grub Grub has made multiple different loaves of bread. He has he's basically replicated the stew, and it doesn't taste as good as the original batch, but it is like more than passable, and he's been able to pretty much replicate it. Um, it's a little lean on the meat, and so you suspect that you could use some of the deer that you have, some of the venison that you have, and he's also tried to put together like lots of different like cheese and sausage, pepperoni, whatever just things that like you might find at a medieval bar. And he's done quite well, and you can see that he's quite proud of himself.
Oh yeah, Grub Grub. Good job,
Uh,
little buddy.
Give praise to Grub Grub.
Yeah, praise Grub Grub.
And he's quite happy with himself as well.
I pat you on the head, little one. I say that in Goblin.
he sort of like shies away at first. Then he's like, okay, what's it happen? Definitely shies away again. But the tavern's looking half decent. It looks ready to be opened as like a not a rough or like tumble tavern, but like a basic watering hole, your basic neighborhood watering hole. Um, the staff, because I believe that you actually invested some money to hire some staff. Is that right? Am I misremembering that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think we were
Never
waiting.
mind.
Ah, we'll run it to begin it.
Yeah. I
Okay.
feel like we should have a goblin only staff. Like, or what? What's
Grub
Grub
Grub's
Grub?
friends. We gotta
Yeah,
see if
Grub Grub.
Grub's got any
Yeah.
family we can go save from
Oh my
peril.
god.
They can all be in the basement watching Victor and Volknar wrestle. That's their living quarters.
Oh man.
Those of you who are going to dress the deer, you may do so. It will take you a long time to do 3 deer.
Yeah, we'll gotta work through the night to make sure we got meat to give to Zeusanus to cook.
Yeah, where
Okay.
should we do that? Because we can't
Oh,
like
man.
gotta find a room to do that. Because it's gonna get probably gonna get messy.
Or at least off to the side.
And then
where
we
the
can
peasants
like,
won't be walking
can we like? It's cold out, so we could probably like store it in the basement. Like find a spot in the basement or something. Instead of just
Yeah,
having like meat like hanging around.
Yeah, whatever you guys want. It depends on, are you looking to actually dress some of it? Are you looking to, you do have like meat storage areas in the basement.
Yeah, I feel like
and
that's
it does
gonna be.
stay cold.
Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of meat.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully
That's,
We got a
that's
bar
meat
to
for the
run,
rest of the
so-
campaign right there, boys.
Alright, I got a 14 sleight of hand on dressing 1 or 2 of them.
Okay, it's pretty good actually.
But I want the head to go above the mantle of the
Okay.
big boy.
Alright, I guess I'll give a sleight of hand too.
Can you guys get like the leather and we can sell that to someone?
Yeah, we can use it. You need any monster parts to make potions?
I don't know yet.
Deer
I haven't
parts.
finished my classes
No.
yet. I might.
Yeah,
Well,
you already know that you probably definitely don't need any deer.
But we definitely want to keep the hide for sure.
Gotcha. Okay.
The one.
So it's a rough dressing. It's not terrible. You're able to use significant portions of the animal to set aside to cook, and it takes you most of the evening and probably about until early morning, so 2 or 3 in the morning, to dress these deer appropriately while trying to keep the hides intact as best you can. They're a little rough. They're not terrible. You string them up. You place the meat into the meat coolers. You overfill it to the point where you think that you're probably going to have to cook some of the meat, but you're able to put that in like a safe box outside so that it'll at least stay cold, refrigerated. The head does not come off super easily, but you are able to extract it, put a giant spike onto like a nice piece of wood that you then put the head onto, and you put it above the mantle. Is that right?
Yeah. Actually, I'll say this. We'll leave it outside to like freeze, and then I'll put it on the mantle in the morning.
This is just
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
be
you
dripping
gotta-
blood the next day.
Yeah, you gotta prepare it somehow. we can't
Yeah.
just put like a raw decapitated.
You're like a
head on the
taxidermy
wall.
person.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying in the meantime, just leave the head out there, all right?
I don't.
Leave it.
We're gonna scare everybody away from our bar the first day.
Well, it's
No, it's gonna be like a
around
fresh
behind the
fresh
building. where we
kill
can't
that
see it.
everyone's gonna want to come and eat our stew and
Pool of
roast-
blood in the front of the place now.
whatever. Leave it outside then.
Yeah.
I would have spent a significant amount of time cleaning the outside, making sure. It was
Wait, do I have
pretty
any? Hold on. Harry would use some sort
Oh.
of magic something to like cauterize, cauterize and seal the neck.
Oh, you have prestidigitation. That like
Yeah,
just
I do.
clean anything you want.
What does it do? Clean it?
Yeah,
Instantaneously
so
clean or soil an object no larger than 1 cubic foot.
Is it permanent or is it temporary though?
it can be. I mean, it's not going to prevent something being re-sullied, but it would clean things as you wish. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Then I want a nice clean elk head or deer head, carcass
Okay.
head to hang above the mantle. So I'll use I'll cast prestidigitation and clean it up.
Okay.
Prestidigitation.
Yeah, whatever. I don't even know how to say
It's
it.
a cantrip.
Prestidigitation.
Yeah.
Prestidigitation.
Yeah, scoop it.
Okay, so you use prestidigitation to clean up the deer head and the and put it on like a board and everything. So you're able to hang that wherever you wish at this point. Somebody, I believe it was Alistair or Victor, said they wanted to make sure that the yard didn't have like tons of blood in it. Was that right?
Sounds
Yes,
like an Alistair
I
thing.
wanted to do that.
Oh,
Okay,
Pointed out that there was blood there. That's it.
gotcha.
Can we
clean it
ask
up.
Harry to clean that up too?
So Harry, you're going to be up till 3 in the morning doing the deer carcasses,
Yeah.
anyways. So it's up to you to determine if you want to clean that up.
I'm going to bed. You guys can clean that up. Oh, Harry turns around and if someone asked him to do it, he would just point at it and cast prestidigitation and clean up the blood,
Gotcha.
and then go to bed.
Gotcha. So you get the place in like half decent shape once again. Some of you waking up early enough to continue prepping for opening day. The others, specifically at least Harold, sleeping in later. Is there anything you would like to happen before opening day? What time do you want to open?
Just making sure the food's all ready to go.
Okay.
I suppose we should make like deer our main thing on the menu and try to sell like any excess that we have.
Yeah, venison stew.
Yeah.
So yeah, in the morning, Harry's gonna walk around town like like a hawker, like just yelling, like come visit Prestige Worldwide.
Okay. So we'll have you doing that. Alistair, Victor, Volknar, Zusanu, and Aerith if you're around. Is there anything any of you would like to do?
Just make sure we don't have any blood anywhere. Everything's clean, ready to go. Nothing crazy. Just
Yeah, I guess Alistair would be paying extra close attention to the surrounding area of the place.
Gotcha. Zusanu, you're cooking, I assume.
Yep.
And then
Be
so
ready.
okay, and Grub's helping with whatever needs to be done. What time do you guys want to open?
No, like mid morning thinking? Early
are we
morning?
serving breakfast? I feel like
I got nothing to serve.
our
for breakfast.
menu
I got
is
stew
beer
and,
and
like,
stew right
potatoes.
now.
Like a
Yeah.
brunch lunch opening, you know?
Yeah, like
let's go for
11.
10 or 11. 10
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
11.
Okay. Harold, you begin going around town saying that the tavern is basically
Spreading the
open for
word.
business. Yeah. And lo and behold, there is one person who arrives before anyone else. They were ready to show up because they wanted to see it come to fruition. None other than Volothamp Getarm. And he tramps in. It's like a slight bit of fresh snow this morning, and he like knocks his boots off at the threshold. And he comes in and he looks around and he goes, "Oh, this looks like a tavern, doesn't it?" And he rolls up to a seat by the fire, puts his boots up, and goes, "Ah, can I try? Ah, hell, well, let's see a menu. Who is bartending? Who is waiting? What is the order of
Is it,
operations here?"
Alistair's on security.
Do we know this guy? The name sounds familiar.
He's the
Yes.
bard. Is like the guy
The
from like
pompous
the
guy
very
that
beginning.
gave us the bar.
The guy who gave us the bar.
Anyway,
Oh yeah, who's our server? Who's got who's
Well, it's obviously Grub.
Okay.
Is he in like a butler suit?
I feel like
Like,
Zusnu would
yeah,
be
the
like
cook.
the host, because he's
I'm,
like the
I'm like
oh, the
behind. I'm
cook.
cooking,
Oh,
getting the
okay.
food ready. Maybe bartending as well, but
Mm.
I got to be behind getting things good to go.
Suppose Alistair could do that. He could be the host and then also be like security.
Okay.
I think Aerith can wait. He can like bring out food and stuff to people.
Gotcha. And so I guess then Volo would ask you for a menu, and he would ask, just to try the stew that he's heard Volknar talking about, as well as whatever beer that you currently have on tap.
You got it, mate.
Got
We've been
it.
in league with the what are they called? Not the merchants. What's the guilds? Is that what they call the guilds?
Hunters Guild.
Yeah,
The
we're in league with the
Brewmasters Guild.
guilds. No, just like all the people have been coming by, making our place nice. I guess.
The Tavern Guild, whatever it's
Yeah.
called again. Can't remember what they're called.
Yeah, we've been in league with them, so we got a pretty clean operation here, and the stew's not half bad. And he'll just sort of like give him a little bow and then sneak off.
Gotcha. And he begins to try the stew. He drinks some of the beer. He takes another bite of the stew and he goes, "Well, it looks like I've put Troll Skull Manor, sorry, Prestige Worldwide into the right hands. This is mighty fine. If y'all don't mind," and he puts down one gold piece and he goes, "Here's a little extra for the stew and the beer. It's probably about like 5 silver for a cup of stew and a glass of beer." And he goes, "I am going to go round up some friends, tell Renair, tell Floon, and we're gonna get a whole crowd here. How's that sound?"
Fucking love it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's get this
Sounds
party
perfect.
rocking.
Yes, yes, yes.
I'm gonna take that gold piece he gave us and like hang it up above the bar as like our first gold piece made.
You should have him sign the gold piece.
Oh,
Like we used to do at Acapulco's.
Yeah.
We need like an epic group of adventurers to come in, and then
Okay.
they can sign their gold pieces when they hang them up.
Harry's recruiting. Don't worry about it.
So the rest of the day is actually quite slow, sadly enough. You only have 5 other patrons come in, 2 of which are guards. They say hi to Volknar when they come in, and they say, "We heard something about stew, so we thought we'd give it a try." One of which is another of these individuals who comes in is a gardener or like a landscaper from the Ulbrinter house, I believe, which is the place that Volknar tried to talk up the servants. And there are just 2, actually Fala, the master of herbalism, who Zusanu is working with, as well as just a random dwarf, all come in and they either have lunch or like a late lunch. And then things begin to change. So sun begins to go down and you begin to get a crowd. Harry, you come back in around 2 and you see that there's not a lot of people around having done your rounds.
Harry
Um,
looks disappointed.
but as you guys begin to try to ensure that everything's taken care of, the first group comes in. And the first group is 15 people. It is led by Volo, Renair, and Floon. And there are 12 other nobles with them, young 20-something-year-old nobles, and they all go, "Wow, new tavern, new tavern. Oh, maybe you'll invest in this one, eh?" And they're sort of like bumping elbows and chit-chatting. And they all go to the bar, and some of them, 1 or 2, take some seats over in the corner, and you can see that they're gonna have the whole course, basically. They're gonna have dinner, they're gonna have drinks, they're gonna have food, they're gonna have themselves a merry time. And so they begin ordering things. Aerith, you begin just running food left, right, and center for this group. And after about 20 minutes, 1 or 2 more random people come in and things settle down again. Zusanu, you've had plenty of food uh, on the side to be able to serve people pretty quickly. And the opening of the bar is actually going quite well at this point in time. One of the other individuals who comes in happens to be Emic Froon, the individual down the street who you have seen fleetingly at different times. And he's like looking around with a bit of a discerning eye. Um, so he goes up to the bar, gets an ale, sort of sits alone away from any of the other patrons at the bar. This is now about 6 p.m., I want to say. And some of the other locals from Troll Skull Alley filter in. Fala does not come back, but sorry, let me just find their names really fast here. The Gold Dragonborn by the name of Rishal comes in. Tally Fellbranch, the owner and chief artisan of the Bent Nail, which is the furniture store down the street. He comes in. He's actually one of the Carpenters Guild, so he's been here beforehand. You've seen him here beforehand, and Victor, you've actually worked with him a little bit, in particular. The owner of Steam and Steel, a fire genasi and a water genasi named Embrick and Avi walk in, and they have their own forge down the street. They get a table to themselves. They're a married couple. And funny enough, Vincent Trench comes in. And Vincent specifically nods to Harry and stands with Harry while drinking his glass of beer for small chit chat. You now have over 25 people in your bar. It's comfortable. The fire is continuing to go. The beer is flowing. And in walks none other than another group of nobles, this time led by Vajra Safar. She and her group of nobles sort of take up another set of tables over by Renair and Floon. And at this point, you have more than 35 people in the bar. The nobles in particular are not a rowdy bunch, but the loudest and most boisterous group of all. And you now kind of look around and realize that you have created something that is both local watering hole as well as place for certain noble folk who don't necessarily present themselves as like stuffy nobles to enjoy.
Nice.
Is there anything anyone would like to do as all of this is happening, or would you like to interface with any characters?
Yeah, I would like to.
Go flirt with Vashral.
Okay. And what
Out.
were you saying, Volknar or Victor?
Volknar would want to, like, say what's up to the guards and like brag and boast about his javelin throw, um, and make sure everybody
That's a good
knows about it. Um, be entertaining as he explains the kill. Because he's charismatic. I can do a charisma roll if you want.
You could even do a like strength roll to just try to show off your muscles.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna flex for people as I'm
Okay.
telling this. The Flume group and like those 15 nobles that came in with Renair and all of them.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna do a strength check while I flex. I guess 16, so my muscles are popping. Me
Yeah.
and Victor just got done with a little bout in the basement.
So as
I would say that your veins are a bulge.
Alistair is basically just like lurking around, eavesdropping throughout the night, trying to get a feel for how people are enjoying the place, and then also if he can get any juicy tidbits as he eavesdrops.
Gotcha. Do you want to do a stealth check as well as a perception check?
Sure. Oh boy.
Okay. So with the stealth check, you're actually okay. It's not hard to insert yourself somewhat into conversations because you're either pretending to serve or you're bussing. And so like you have a reason to be around different folks at different times. The perception check. Let me just double check my rumor table here. Let's see what you get. You are able to get one piece of information, and this is specifically from the group of nobles who's sitting with Vajra. Um, she, one of them says something about the Mighty Manticorn Tavern, a place that he says he likes to frequent sometimes to watch a bout of fighting. And he sort of nods over at Volknar and says, "Pretty sure I saw that guy win." But then you also hear, "But I think I also heard the other day that they might be owned by the Xanathar Guild, or at least some sort of front for the Xanathar Guild." It's strange. I've not seen or heard of any fights by the Zents and the Xanathars around the mighty Manticore. I don't know. Just a thought. And you can see Vajra's like eyeing the other noble as he's saying this. They all continue to drink their beers. There's not a lot of other conversation of interest or necessarily anything that would pique your interest. People are talking about their days. The married fire and water genasi are talking about the forge and how to best make steel. It's just random chatter of Waterdeep citizens.
Very cool.
Anyone else?
Wasn't there like a flower or something that magician wanted?
Flower which magician wanted?
The one that gave us the quest that we met the griffins on. She said she wanted she liked purple flowers or something.
Oh, she wanted something from the purple store.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. That's right. So, Harold, what would you like to do?
Harry would like to send over a drink on the house to Vashral and wink at her when it arrives.
How far away
Make
is
sure
the
she
purple
knows it was
store?
from me.
Okay, who is going to carry that drink over for you?
I'll catch Harry's eye, and then I'll pour the drink and mage hand it over to her.
Okay, can you give me a dexterity check so as not to spill the drink first off?
It's gonna spill all over her. I can't wait.
Come on, baby.
That one.
Oh, yes.
no.
Volknar's watching
Perfect.
in anticipation.
Okay,
Can't
so
do everything all the time, Zeus. No.
it just slops over the side a lot. It gets to
Little
her.
bartender.
It gets to her, but it just like slops over the side. And so she only has a half-filled pewter tankard at this point, and there's beer foam on the sides of it. It doesn't spill on her, but it does land with a little bit of a puddle on the table. And the mage hand sort of knocks on the table, and you can see it materialize in midair for a moment, and then point over to Harold. Go ahead and give some sort of persuasion or charisma check there, Harry.
He just hit the chat saying that he's disconnected. He's gonna be back in a minute.
Okay, cool.
Does anyone want to swoop in?
Right? Take credit for the beer.
After this, we'll take 5 anyways to give everyone a break.
Can we send Grub over to clean it up?
Yeah, totally. Grub can go over with a cloth, begin cleaning the area, cleaning the beer trail as well. Considering it's slopped around on the way from the bar.
Floating beer with Grub just following behind it, wiping up the spill.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. And is anybody else doing anything?
Can't believe how successful this has been so far.
Do people tip the wait staff in this society? Is that
they do not actually.
Oh, okay.
Prices are set so well that you don't need to tip.
Cool.
So do we have any sort of performance going on in the background?
Besides Volknar, you do not at this time, so far as I know.
Oh, is he still flexing? Has he just been doing that this whole time?
I'm flexing. I'm telling my javelin story.
Doing some peck pops.
Do we have Volknar and Victor wrestle?
I figure it seems like the place is pretty busy, so I think Victor would actually be working and getting kegs when they're getting new kegs when they're empty, and
And you are getting through the food and the beer actually. You suspect that this is a significantly busier night than you would normally have, but that's not a problem because you've got deals with the Vintners Guild and you've got deals with a bunch of the guilds to help ensure that you have food and everything.
We're dope
Harold,
hunters.
Yeah, sorry. I literally my computer just like restarted.
no
So I
worries.
couldn't- did you bring over my drink, Zeus? And
Yeah, I did a really good job too.
All right, good job, buddy.
And so the scene
Tell her
that
it was from me.
unfolds. So the
Tell
scene
her
that
it was from me.
unfolds
Yeah. Go.
is that Zusanu uses his mage hand to bring the drink over, and he rolled a natural one, so it gets all slopped all over the place.
No.
And so Grub Grub is behind the drink, floating in midair, wiping up the drink as it spills onto the floor, as it comes to a slopping crash down onto the table, so there's a puddle around it. And the mage hand knocks on the table, materializes, and points over to you, Harold, and Grub Grub picks up the pewter and is like wiping the puddle off the table. And Vajra turns and looks at you, so you can roll a charisma check.
Roll a charisma check. All right. Let's see.
I set
Thanks,
you up
big
good there, buddy.
Yeah, you're the best. All right. I'm not even on that page yet. Harold. All right. So before I roll while I'm loading this, I'm already shaking my head at what is I guess seeing unfold in front of me. And so I'm at the bar, I think, with Vincent Trent, I think at the time.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, hold on, buddy. And then whoever's behind the bar,
That's me.
my bartender. Yeah, give me another. I'm gonna look at him real angrily and say, give me another beer.
I just kind of quack quietly in disgrace and pour him a beer the old-fashioned way with my hands.
All right, nat 20 on my charisma check.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Okay. You manage to salvage the situation, and you get this fresh beer. And
Yeah.
as Grub Grub has cleaned it all up, you bring the beer over and hand it to Vajra, apologizing to her for the incident.
Yeah.
Is there anything you would like to say to her in particular?
Yeah. I hope you found my gift I left you at our last encounter, and I've been waiting to hear from you ever since.
At this, the nobles around the table kind of look up at you, and one of them goes, and the others are all kind of staring at Vajra, and she goes, "I did. It was quite the kind thing. May I call upon you here at some point?" And you can see all of the nobles look at you stunned, and they're like, "Wait, what the fuck is happening here?" And they're looking back and forth between the two of you.
Yeah. Harry bows and gets out of there.
Do you not even say anything to her question?
Well, I mean, like I smile and say, "Of course, my lady," and like bow and leave majestically.
Tip your fedora.
Yeah.
And she says,
This guy's
"Thank you,
cool.
Harold."
Harry is grinning ear to ear as he returns to Vincent Trent.
And as you return to Vincent Trent, you can see that he's actually been writing in his little notebook once again.
Oh God, yeah. All right. Well, then when I get back, Harry goes, "Hey, what are you writing there, Vincent? Vinny?"
He's like quickly puts it back into his suit pocket, finishes his drink, and he goes, "Oh well, mighty fine place and tavern you've got here. Quite the clientele. Good evening to you, Harold." And he actually puts down 2 gold, begins to take his leave.
All right, bye, buddy. I'll let
Um,
him go.
is there anything else anyone would like to do?
Susanu's a little bummed that none of his Griffin riding buddies came to the opening night.
I feel like at one point, or throughout, once the night started to like die down, Alistair would go up to the 2 burly boys, Victor and Volknar, and be like, "Well, lads, you spent a lot of time down in the basement. So, who is it? Who's stronger than who?" He'll kind of like look them both up and down.
Okay.
And he's curious to see what their answer is.
Well, Alistair, I think you know the answer.
So we can show you
No,
the answer.
no, I don't. That's why I ask. You guys spend a lot of time down there, and you've been training, so I figure you must know by now who's strongest. But I don't know. You keep going down this, so maybe you don't know.
We can
Well,
show you.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
We
yeah.
can arm wrestle if you
Totally,
like.
totally.
I guess that's one way to settle it.
So,
Like-
as this is happening, the nobles are actually beginning to filter out, and so this is where it's getting like a little quieter. Is that what you were looking for,
Alright.
Yeah,
Alistair?
yeah.
Well-
I was waiting towards the end of the night. Once it started to die
Well,
down.
So it's
Lights.
dying down around like 9:30, and as the nobles leave, this is happening. So you guys are in the midst of this, but at the same time, a group of guards walks in, and they are all off shift. You can see they've taken like their badges off and stuff, and they begin. It's like 10 guards, and they begin asking for stew and asking for beer as you guys are having this conversation.
Am I friendly
Perfect.
with these guards?
Volknar, you do recognize several of them, and it looks like they've brought friends.
Nice.
All right, I'm gonna leave this conversation for a bit, and I'm gonna say hello to my guard friends. But I'm like, we'll pick this up later.
And they clap you on the back and they're like, "Oh, you wanted to see the new tavern?" They take some tables. One of the tables that the nobles had been at, mind you, Floon, Renaer, Volo, and a few of their friends are still at one table, but there's like way fewer nobles in general. So the guards are sort of taking that area around the fireplace now.
Is the Dragonborn still there?
He ate his stew and then took his leave.
Okay.
This goes on with this new group for quite some time until a few of the cavalry members of the Griffin Riders show up. There's 3 of them in particular, and you can see outside because they cause quite the commotion because they land the griffins in the courtyard. And so as they do so, they sort of tie them up against the iron fence, walk in. They are actually on duty still, but they wanted just to stop by, maybe have a quick bite to eat on a break, and then continue on their way.
Oh.
Excited to see his
Yeah.
fellow.
Alistair would immediately let Susanu know and be like, "Hey, you got some bird friends here." Give him a wink.
Susan gets excited to see his friends and welcomes them in, get them some stew and some drinks.
Okay. And all of this continues to happen. There are random people who you've never seen or heard of consistently dropping in for a drink, a bowl of stew. It is pretty busy the entire evening. If there are any other things, go ahead and shout them out. Otherwise, we might begin to like wind up your opening tavern sequence.
I do want to talk to like Renaer and Flume a little
Okay.
bit. Reminisce about the whole sewer days.
Yeah,
Make
and
them feel welcome.
yeah, definitely. And Renaer is sitting there, and as you begin to talk about this again, he goes, I do feel rather indebted to you for saving myself and Floon. And Floon at this point says, well, I might as well tell you. And he opens up a pouch inside his coat and pulls out a leather coin purse and puts it on the table with a heavy thud. And just at a glance from the size and shape of the coin purse, you suspect there's quite a bit of gold in there. And he goes, 200 gold for you and the lads.
It's like, dang, for what?
Well, for saving us, for creating such an interesting watering hole, consider it both an investment and a thank you.
Did you find your father's 500 dragons or whatever?
Renaer looks at you again and says, no. Though I do suspect that whatever's happening in the city right now between the dang gangs is probably related. It's strange. Let me check one thing. It's strange. On my way into the tavern, I recognized a man named Dalakar. He used to work for my father. And I came around the corner with Renaer here, or with Floon here, and he saw me and I saw him, and it looked like he was about to come into the tavern, but then he just ran. Um, I'm surprised I didn't shout out his name, but I thought about it for a moment. It seemed like he was scared of something. nonetheless, if you see a rock gnome loitering about, and he describes this rock gnome, he's a bald fellow, a little bit larger than most gnomes. Most gnomes are not rock gnomes. Rock gnomes come from the Underdark in particular, and so he describes this individual and in great detail, and he says, if you see him, like, welcome him in, say that you're a friend of Renair, but try not to scare him off. He looked like he'd been through something. I mean, his face was just in shock. And at this, Floon says, nonetheless, take the gold, lad, give it to your friends.
It's like, okay, we got some gold, and I throw it to Zeusnu behind the bar, just like, yo, keep this safe.
Throw 200 gold at him.
It's in a pouch.
Yeah, it's in a pouch.
Okay.
Like, can we do a dexterity check for
Yeah.
Zeusnu, see if it hits him in the face?
Yeah,
Sure.
dex saving throw.
Gets him in the beak.
That's totally fine.
Oh, 10. Oh, I was kind of hoping for another nat 1.
Nah, you're all good. You're able to catch it without too much issue.
With the beak or with a feather?
Oh, whatever he wants.
I catch it with here's my hand.
His talons.
You can toss it into the wherever you're hiding all that coin at this point.
What, 200 you said?
Yeah, 200 gold.
Nice.
Okay, who would like to roll for how much the tavern has made this evening?
Hmm.
Ooh, what do we roll for it?
Yeah, what's the roll?
Let's see. Let me just find the specifics that I wrote down for this.
Who's got the hot hand tonight, boys?
Performance. A performance check, obviously.
Actually, hold on. I gotta grab. If you guys want to take like a 3 to 5 minute break, we can do that now, and I'll grab my
Sure,
DMG and figure this out.
Alright, cool. We're gonna
Okay.
grab a
Sounds good.
big
I like it.
Yo, I can't believe Zeusnu trying to do me dirty like that.
I was trying to help. I figured if you had
I
the
can't believe you didn't just bring the drink over yourself, bro.
I don't
was
know.
trying to
I
act
figured,
cool, like, you know.
yeah, having it
I was gonna
ordered.
be like
I
leaning
picture
up against the
myself as
wall,
the.
like winking, like, "Hey, you got you."
I was trying to help you out, sending like cause she's like the magical lady. Send the lady like the magical lady a drink with like magical means.
Did you ever say bye to her? Like, did you see her off? Did you walk her out the door? Walk her to her carriage?
No, I played it. She was with a bunch of dudes.
You just played it
I was
cool.
playing it cool. I had to save it with my nat 20.
I love how it went from a nat 1 to a nat 20 in the same interaction.
That's pretty epic.
And
Um,
I just gotta say, out of character, I don't know if Vincent is playing me or not.
He keeps taking notes.
I know. I'm like, he's either like playing me, like maybe this something about knowing this lady
The lady.
got him onto
You
something.
think he's
Very
sus?
interested in her.
Vajra.
She's an interesting lady.
Well, he like clammed up when I asked her about her.
Mhm.
And then when I said like I knew her, he was like,
Let's kidnap
and
him
then he
and beat him up.
bounced. Maybe. I want to meet the Dragonborn too. He's a
Not gonna-
bookworm.
not
That's
gonna
all we
kidnap
know
him.
about him.
Kidnap
He's a
him and beat him
bookworm.
up. We're recessing, all right?
Not only is he a bookworm, but his shop is literally called the Bookworm's Treasure.
Harry's
your
a
alley,
wizard. He would
Harry.
probably like a bookworm. He probably's got some scrolls for me. All right, anyway, I'm ready.
Okay, who would like? So there's two rolls that need to be made. The first is to determine the success of the business over this 10-day, the first 10-day. It's normally a D100, and then like I add or subtract like minus, +5, -5, certain amount of penalty to it. On this one, I'm just going to give you guys a +50 because you've advertised the business, you've invested so much money, you're opening it, it's opening night, so there's going to be extra coin coming in as people come to the business
You're
within that
welcome,
first
guys, for the advertising.
week. So go ahead and roll D100 and then add 50 to it, and I'll tell you then what next to roll.
Should we
Hold
ask Volknar do it since he did all the advertising?
Go for it.
You got us
do it.
that +50.
You gotta blow on the dice.
Ooh, let's
Whoa.
go.
Shit!
All right, that's pretty
my
legit.
boy.
Dang.
Okay, so normally on a 91 or higher, the business covers its own maintenance costs for each of these days, and then you earn a profit of 3d10 times 5. But because you rolled so well, plus you have that +50, so it'd be like 144, I'm going to say that you get a lot more gold because of this. So what I'm going to say is go ahead and roll the 3d10, and then I'll tell you how much gold in total you get.
So
All
that's
right,
just
roll it again.
3d10s.
Yeah, custom roll.
Yeah, 3d10s.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
Okay, 13.
And was there another roll?
That was it. So within the first 10-day, as profit, you gain 247 gold.
Ooh, bam. Zeusna, you got that?
247.
Oh, that bomb stew.
Wow.
We gotta go
And-
hunt it again.
Yeah, between like there's many different factors going on here between like the fact that you have meat for free, the fact that you have advertised the business, you know what I mean? It's opening night. There's a lot of different things going on. This is atypical. But the business is doing very well.
Nice.
So
We
this
need
is
to
an
find
example.
some.
This is
We need
this
to
is like
find
an
his Delta
example
Morty's ale.
of like
Right.
best case scenario.
Yeah,
Essentially.
very much so.
Okay.
Do we have a bathroom that's gonna need cleaning?
I would
Definitely.
assume so.
Yeah. See what the damage is on that.
Well, we're in with the the pipe cleaners or whatever. Trash guild.
You are
Well, I
in
mean,
with
we have
the
to-
Dung Sweepers Guild. That is
Yeah.
correct.
Oh, okay. So we got people for that. I was gonna say we're gonna have to draw straws.
Well, I mean, so the maintenance of the tavern itself and the cleaning and the servers, like you've not hired actual staff. You have Grub as like an assistant, and he's earning a wage out of you. But like,
Yeah.
Well, if we're gonna go adventuring,
after
we're
this-
gonna
What
need the staff set.
what day of the
I feel
week
like
was
after
that?
this, we probably have
Was
enough
that
to
like
pay for that.
was that like a Friday night? or like a Saturday?
Yeah, that was like a Saturday. It was like a Saturday
Okay.
night.
So
and,
at least
it was like. Oh, go ahead.
we have an idea of like how busy we're gonna be, so we know like how many people we need to hire.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that works
All
out.
right. And so, could you? Is it? What would we think it would cost for us to just hire someone per week or per whatever per session? Want to call it? Would that
Yeah.
be
So
like,
it would be a gold a day per person, roughly. So it might be a little bit less or a little bit more, depending on their position. But so if you were to hire 5 people, it'd be 5 gold total. Um, if you were to split that up across 10 day, we're talking 50 gold for your hires, plus another like 25 gold for maintenance, and then 25 gold for food and ale. So we're talking like it takes 100 gold to run for a week.
Did we roll to see how much we got?
we
Mhm.
just we just did.
What,
We
We
did
did really good.
How much
247.
did we get?
We did really good.
247, something like that.
247.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we bankrolling. We did a great job. We know how to advertise.
Now,
Is
mind
there-
you,
Yeah.
there's also the chance of like you must pay 1.5 times the business's maintenance cost for each of the days as a potential outcome, like as running the business on like that running the business table. So like that would be 150 gold that you would have to drop.
Hope we don't roll shitty.
Okay.
And we'll have gold from other places too. We got like that dung sweepers guild deal we got going on, where we go protect them.
Is there like a
Is that a, can that be like? Oh, well, is it like a bar? Can we say, hey, you come maintenance our thing, and we maintenance your defense?
I mean, I would say so anything that you want to do outside of just running the tavern between the lot of you, and like I would say like you can rotate, somebody gets a day off or whatever. You're gonna have to hire people, so that's like 50 gold, right? So like if that
Yeah.
happens, that's part of the cost of the business. So like it would go into the roles that I do for the running of the business. In regards to like the dung sweeper stuff, like I wouldn't worry so much about that, but you can earn more gold by continuing to do things like that for them if you so wish.
All right. All right. So let's just let's go hire someone, right? We all agree we're gonna hire some staff.
Yeah, we're gonna need staff.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, well, what about Grub Grub and his family? Can we ask Grub Grub if he has family that wants to come? Then we can pay them like child
No,
labor
we need
wages.
Alistair would step in and say, "Oh, we might need a little bit
Yeah.
more of a practice hand. Grub Rub's been doing great, but I mean,
Yeah.
just imagine what we could do with real people."
Those were some pretty fancy folks that came in tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we can't have any more mishaps when Vajra comes back.
I mean,
And
Grub
Harry
Grub did great
glares
chasing
at-
that beer that was floating in the air.
Zusanu looks down at his feet, thoroughly embarrassed.
And so would you guys like to just like hire some random folks off the street? Like, would you like to go through one of the guilds, like the actual like tavern guild itself?
Yeah, let's go through the tavern guild.
Yeah.
I want like some good union.
Yeah.
Someone we've already paid to do.
I feel
help
like
us with this.
an interview montage would be hilarious, but we should probably just do the
Yeah, yeah.
guilds.
Interview
I
montage
want
would be
to.
funny.
I want to go to another tavern and poach their best waitress.
Let's go to our
Okay.
rival tavern and clog their toilets.
Yeah, that too.
Just shove rats down it. After all this deer stew.
Oh, speaking of rats, one thing that I want Zusanu to be working on in the background, like over time, is training the local rats into like a circus type deal where they do tricks.
Oh, there's something else that I did want to talk about the group. I was gonna bring it up to the guards, but I was gonna say I was looking at the feats, right? And I saw that there's like Savage Attacker, Weapon Master, Great Weapon Master. and like I was gonna maybe try to do some sort of like sparring event in the courtyard, and I was gonna see if like some of the guards wanted to do it, but I wanted to check with the group first to see if we can like maybe do that on like some sort of like Friday, Saturday nights. We have a sparring event for our customers
Oh.
to watch.
I 100% support
You
that.
want to put on an event? Yeah.
Oh,
That'd be sick. We could make so much
Alistair's eyes
money.
light up at this. He's
Hey,
like,
I can do
that's a
I
great
can-
idea, mate.
I can do tricks too with like my magic. I can
Yeah, we could do like
put
Friday
on a
nights have
show.
melee, Saturday nights have magic duels.
Yeah.
Sure, whatever you guys want.
Love the idea.
We support your idea.
Cool.
Okay, so do you want to hire through the Tavern Guild, or do you want to try to like poach people? Do you want to just find strangers? What do you
I
guys
say
think
we
we can
just
do
go
for
through
that?
the Tavern Guild.
Yeah,
Alistair's
Tavern Guild,
leaning on
and
using the
then
guilds since we
maybe
basically already
along
paid
the
them.
way,
Mind.
I'll poach someone just to
Okay.
do it naturally in our
Yeah.
Okay.
travels.
If you come across someone.
Yeah.
That's
So you
one
guys
shot.
hire through the Tavern Guild, like that's not an issue. You're able to get several servers. One or two is in particular quite good at their jobs, and probably experienced at working with nobles as a waiter or wait staff. So you do that. The business is going well. Across that 10-day, you earn that 247 gold. You now have people to run the business in the background for you. If there are things you would like to do during the week to continue to promote the business, to improve the business in ways, you may do so, and you can either like drop gold. I'm gonna say that like 25 gold gets you a plus 10 on that roll. Like to help invest if you want to. But you can't get more than plus 30 on that roll in general, except for the
For-
opening night
For what? For what is that exactly?
for the running of the
200 roll?
business.
Oh,
Yeah,
just throwing money at it just improves your chances.
Like
exactly.
advertising.
Yeah.
Like throwing in
Yeah.
advertising.
Is there like a newspaper or something we could like?
Yeah, there
put
are
it-
several different newspapers in Waterdeep that you can advertise through, and that can be part of that 25 gold investment.
Do we want to invest anything this 10-day round?
I like this this newspaper advertisement idea. That's pretty nice.
Let's do one. 25.
Okay. Remove 25 gold.
And
Yeah.
then Alistair would like to look over the message and see if he can insert some thieves' can into it.
Gotcha. Go ahead and give me an intelligence check on that.
Okay. Intelligence.
I think Zusni would have found that suspicious.
Why am I not seeing intelligence?
What's
Didn't-
suspicious?
Am I just
It's,
doing a straight
like,
intelligence
add
roll?
up
Is that what I'm
Alistair
doing?
like
Yeah,
looking
just a straight
over
intelligence
the
roll.
message so intently. Because Zusni knows that he's trying to contact like the underground, but also is very supportive of it.
18.
I got myself an
Okay.
18.
Okay. Yeah, you're able to insert something in there if you'd like. Sorry, Zeusnu, you're checking to see if he does such a thing?
No, I will. Even if I noticed, I wouldn't care.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, you have no issue with that. During that first week, actually, Alistair, I meant to say this earlier. An individual does come by, and it's
Oh.
a gruff, large-looking human, probably in his mid-30s, bald, no tattoos, except for one on his hand, that of a black snake.
Okay.
And he comes to you, or he comes into the bar, and he goes, "Oh, is there an Alistair round here looking for someone named Alistair?"
Alistair sneaks up from behind and whispers, "Well, that'd be me."
Make a stealth check. And just see if this comes off.
Sneaks up and spooks him.
Oh, big
You,
money.
you actually do. And he kind of whips around and he goes, and you can see that his like hand was going towards like a dagger on his belt. And he goes, very funny, very funny. You're Alistair? And he looks you up and down. Not necessarily what I expected, but if you go somewhere we can talk, private
Yeah.
like.
Alistair looks down at him, about to grab his dagger. He's like, "There'll be no need for that, mate." Gives him a grin. He's like, "Come this way," and leads him
And where do
on Let's somewhere more private, I suppose.
Okay. You can go into any of the number of rooms, either upstairs or into the basement or whatever.
Yep.
And he goes, Erstal Floxen's the name. I found this, and he holds out a piece of paper, and it is none other than the note that you wrote in Thieves' Cant and left at the end of the blue alley at the door with your mark.
He's like, "Oh, you found that, did you?"
I did, and I might have a job for you here, if you're very interested and capable, but I think I would need to see if you're actually capable.
He looks him up and down. He's like, "I'm more than capable, mate. But what type of work we talking here?"
Well, and he shows the tattoo on his hand, holds it like up in front of him, and he goes, "Look, I gotta know that you don't work with us."
Right. How do I prove that?
Well, let me see your hands first and foremost. You'd have a tattoo.
All right. Alistair shows him his hands.
Alright, that's a good start. Look, if you work with any Zents, you can't tell them about this job. You see, I don't trust some of the other Zents right now, and that's kind of what the job is. I'm gonna have to ask you to sneak in somewhere to try to understand who these folks work for. But I need to know you're trustworthy. And I need to know you're capable. Can I ask you to do a simple job before you do a complicated job?
I don't see why not.
All right. And he begins to detail you a job, and this job is: I'd like you to steal a silk handkerchief from a Waterdavian noble and give it to a young tiefling girl who lives in a crate at the end of Net Street and Dock Street by the wharf. You got that?
Oh, give me a minute, mate.
No, I can give you the actual text if you need.
Yeah, please do that.
Yeah, give me a
That was a
moment.
mouthful.
Yeah, it was a mouthful. Well, and I'll just put it in here. And he's like looking at you. Do you got that? Do you understand? If you can pull this off, no problems, no issues with the law. No ifs, ands, or buts. We'll talk about the complicated job.
All right, that seems easy enough.
Alright. Do it in the next few days. I'll hear from the Tiefling girl myself. Don't worry about getting lured to me. There's no issue with that. And I know where to find you. I'll come back once you've done it.
Sounds good.
And he goes, cheers. And nice deer head you got over the bar down there. Takes his leave.
I'll show you out.
Yep. And he goes ahead and leaves.
Cool.
Is there anything else you guys would like to do?
I don't want to forget about what the ghost guy.
Lift?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I want to see if he heard all the commotion from opening night.
Oh, Lift.
Oh, yeah. So Liff has been significantly helpful the entire time. There have been plenty of times where the door gets kind of stuck and it doesn't close fully, and Liff has been consistently closing the door to keep the warmth in, so that way the tavern patrons are not unhappy about the cold. So he's been in charge of that primarily, but he's also been in charge of like little things, trying to keep out of the way so that people aren't seeing just like random things invisibly happen because you have a poltergeist, but trying to just like help keep things moving. So he's been useful in the kitchen for Zusanu. He's closed the tap once or twice when they've been left open, as you have like an armful of flagons in your arms to go serve beer, whoever that might be, so on and so forth. So it's lots of little things like that.
Helpful little ghost.
It's nice that we don't have to pay him.
Right? Free labor.
Is this what night is this? Is this still opening night, or is this like the day after?
This is like across that first 10 days, so the full week basically, whatever you guys want.
Oh, like after our opening day.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had opening night. Now we're saying it's been like a week. We earned all that money.
Okay,
Yeah.
I want to start um asking the guards if having like some sort of magic duel, or like who would we talk to if we wanted to do the magic duels and the melee duel?
Does it need to be sanctioned? Do we need to,
Yeah,
or can we
Melee
just
duel.
do it on our own?
basically,
Probably talk
yeah.
to the guards at the very least.
Or like there might be a guild for that. Is there an entertainment guild?
Well, let's find out. That's a good question. That's like the sort of information that you'd be able to just gather while living in Waterdeep. So give me a moment, and I will tell you that part. Um, in terms of like sanctioning, I'm gonna say, considering how you know that the scrambling wrestler is underground within the mighty manticore, on some level it's allowed. It may or may not be sanctioned. Um, okay, so
We might have to expand your basement there, an underground fighting pit.
Right? If it's already underground, it could be a little frowned upon. Can't just have like big full-on sword duels and axe duels in the courtyard
so
with all
there's
these
not.
fellows around us.
Maybe like we give the people like wooden weapons to fight with, so
Yeah,
it's all
something blunt.
non-lethal.
There's really not like an entertainers guild of some sort, whether that's like a musicians or bards, or like an actors guild, so far as I can tell. And so
So it sounds like we
I'm.
should start one.
You guys want?
Should we start an entertainers guild? That way we can
No.
sanction. That way we can
No.
sanction ourselves.
I'm a fighter, not an entertainer.
Well, I mean, it would be
Do we?
entertainment as in like boxing
Yeah.
matches or like
Yeah.
fights.
Yeah, but that's like, yeah. No, I know.
A
I mean, if
martial
we
arts
establish
guild.
it,
To start
we
with.
establish it
Martial
now.
arts.
We'd be the ones in charge. We get all the kickback.
Are we starting Cobra Kai? Is that what's happening?
Oh man.
Do we have
This is-
do we have any other like set in stone missions at this point in time?
Has
We have
like, do
our
you have
like
any-
our weekly broom
Yeah.
or dung sweepers guild mission where we go protect them.
Yeah. What
Yeah,
button?
I'm just asking. Like, we don't have like do we have one sitting around
I don't think so.
like an actual?
Like a goal.
Trying to find out
Or do I need to go find? I guess that's my question is, or do we need to go find one?
What's his
That's
face,
basically
his
what I'm getting
dad?
out of character. Like, should I go try to visit my
Yeah, go visit the
Dragonborn
magic
guy
lady.
or the magic lady? When we go
Go
back
visit
to
the
her?
magic lady and see if she has like a cool quest for us.
Do I want to talk about? Do I want to mention to the group the gnomes? Because who just heard about the gnomes or was asked about the gnomes?
So the
Volkmar?
rock gnome.
Yeah. Because is that? I'm
That-
assuming that's the gnome that I saw in my keeping my eyes out. I saw a gnome and an elf. I'm relating that gnome to being the rock gnome being mentioned to Volkmar, right?
Oh, was it me?
It was you, because you received the gold from Floon, and Renair was telling you about this at the same time.
Okay.
Let's follow
Okay.
up to it.
All right.
Yeah, I mean,
guess
I'll
let me-
tell everyone about that. Like any of the
Yeah.
conversations that I had,
And
or
And then
they're
I would,
known.
Harry would say, "Hey, my first." Well, I was just gonna ask you, Nick. First was have I seen the gnome or the elf in this past 10 day?
You probably have not at this point.
Okay.
The only individual who has consistently been on the lookout, so far as I know, has been Alistair. So if Alistair wants to roll once he learns of this,
Yeah.
I,
Alright,
I
well
think
then,
he can. But besides that, I don't think. Like, it's just like a weird thing where like Alistair's has specifically been on the lookout.
yeah. Then I would say, I would mention that I saw a gnome. Harry saw a gnome. The first week we were here, kind of looking very suspicious.
I wonder if that sounds familiar. So what, what should I roll?
Perception.
Yeah, I'm gonna say perception or investigation. It's up to you, depending on if you're doing like passive trying to find him versus active trying to find him.
I'll do investigation.
Recalling. You're trying to recall if you've seen one now.
Oof, that is unfortunate.
No, yeah, so you don't think you've seen him.
Alice just shrugs.
Well, yeah. Who wants to know about this gnome?
Our noble friends, the ones we
Yeah,
saved.
Were they
Renair and all them.
there looking for the gnome? All right, we'll keep an eye out.
Yeah, do we get any lead on that noble's father who stole all the gold?
Oh, he didn't. No, we asked him. He didn't get it right.
The only information that Renair provided Volknar was that he's he suspects that the gang war stuff is related to it, but he hasn't heard anything more about it. And actually, Volknar, you did notice that the locket that had been broken into, he had repaired, and he was wearing once more.
And that locket was like the key to finding the gold.
That locket had been broken into, and something had been taken out of it. And it had been broken into in a secret compartment that Renair did not know existed beforehand.
Okay.
Gotta get that locket, bro.
No. It's already been got. As far as we know.
I mean, do we?
No,
I was
go
gonna
ahead.
say, do we know like where like Renair and like Floon, because they're friends, like where do they hang out? Is it like our tavern? Is it like the other tavern we used to work at?
So they've actually been coming by your tavern pretty regularly. So if you guys want to have a conversation with them, that's not hard to do.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I guess we can talk to them, see what's going on with them. If they're getting any more heat from the snake tattoo people, or whoever was chasing them, or kidnapped them. See if they've had anybody following stuff.
So when they come by some night, you guys ask them these questions, and the answers are strangely no. They've not had any heat from either the Zents or the Xanthars. They have actually asked Vajra to help them look into it a little bit, and so the authorities in Waterdeep are being alerted to the fact that nobles have been kidnapped and are looking into it, as well as the idea that one of them is Lord Neverember's son. They're not sure as to why they have not been accosted at all, but Renair has actually been traveling in a larger posse, he says. He admits to the group. And when he is telling you this, like he's with a group of like 3 or 4 other nobles as well. And so there's been, he's keeping himself sort of protected just by sheer numbers right now. It's really the only information that he has in regards to the ongoing missing gold, however.
Well, Volknar wants to talk to Renair. He wants to be like, I want to go out with you and your nobles tonight, and we'll get fucked up. Well, I'm gonna protect you guys.
Roll a persuasion check.
Oh, straight and to the point.
14.
Let me do a counter roll just to see what he says. He says, you know what? Why not? We might as well. Where would you like to go?
When let's go within this fortnight or whatever.
Okay, you can go within the next 10 day. Do you want to just go carousing? Which is like, so similar to like running a business. There's like a D100 table. You can do carousing for a night. Depending on what you want to try to do, you can get a plus or minus to it.
Oh, what's carousing?
You can spend downtime engaged in a variety of hedonistic activities, such as attending parties, binge drinking, gambling, or anything else that helps them cope with the perils they face on their adventures.
Sounds
Uh,
about it.
Sure. I'm gonna ask him if any of the crew wants to come along.
Hmm.
Harry will go.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll go out with the nobles.
Alistair
Okay.
nods and he's like, I'm going. Just make sure you guys don't get in too much trouble.
Is that 4 of the 5 right now? Does anybody else want to go? Or who was the last person?
You hear from Victor?
Victor will hang back.
Stay home. You gonna work? Do push-ups in the basement?
I mean, I don't want to like, you know, go out too big of a group. So
Okay.
Wanna go out drinking? Okay.
So what do you guys want to do with the nobles? Like, do you want to just go drinking and see where it takes you? Do you want to go kind of like batshit wild? Do you guys want to get into bar fights? What's the interesting bits for you guys?
What can we do? So should I be looking at red dots?
You can look at whatever you'd like to on the map.
Where
Alright.
meet
And
on the
Harry's gonna
dolphin.
try to poach a. Harry's gonna try to get someone to work at the tavern at some point.
Gotcha.
Let's
Okay.
let's do a bar crawl. Let's
Yeah, bar
do
crawl.
I'm looking at 2 places on the right. Uh we got A Maiden's Tears and we got Twilight Hunters. I just want to be like, yo, let's check out the competition. Let's see what's
Okay.
going
Yeah.
on.
What about what about Froome's place? Does he have a place or is it not open yet?
Froon's place is not yet open.
Okay.
So the Maiden's Tears, however, let me just double check this. I think I have this right. Oh no, I don't know where that is. Okay, so Fern's place is not open. A Maiden's Tears. Okay, so you can go there. That's not an issue. It's just a typical neighborhood tavern. It's sort of set back into the alley, right off Lion Street, um, Lion's main alley. If there's anything in particular you would like to do here, there are several talented wait staff. If you would like to try to poach them, Harold. Um, Otherwise, you can have a few drinks, enjoy yourselves.
Or like what's does Renee and them have like, typical bars that they
Yeah,
go to
so
besides us and
so
besides the watering hole or whatever it was?
totally. They go to um, funny enough, the same tavern that Aerith met all of those lycanthropes at, up in the Sea Ward. They go to, gosh, what is that called again?
That's too bad he's not in the chat.
It's okay.
Hope he's feeling all right.
The Storm's Front, I believe, is it was called, which is a popular gathering place for the young and wealthy. And so they typically hit that up once a week. They're beginning to hit your place up once a week. They also like to frequent, if they're feeling up to it, for music, the Golden Harp Inn, which is like that has like it's an inn and tavern that has music every night at it. There's like a bard that is actually in residence there, and if they're feeling rough and tumble or like they want to gamble and play cards, they go down into the dock ward.
Anybody got anything they want to do?
I'm down
Alistair
for
would
that,
suggest the
girl.
dock ward. Do a bit of gambling, mates.
Yeah,
So
Harry likes to gamble.
And so if you guys want to do like serious carousing, I will have you roll on the table. Otherwise, if you'd rather keep it like tamer for your character, we won't roll on the table. But like be warned, the table has like both good and bad to it, right? So you could come up with like a rough roll, or it could be kind of interesting or kind of amazing.
Hmm.
We risk it. Go for the roll.
Let's go for the roll. That's what this is all about. I want to roll.
Well, Alistair came there basically to try to like chaperone you guys, so he's not going too hard.
Okay. So Alistair's not going to roll. Sounds like Harold would like to roll. Volknar and Zusnu.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh yeah,
Boy.
sure, I'll roll. What are we rolling?
Okay.
All of us roll or just one?
Individually, I need you each to roll 1d100. That being said, Alistair might be able to save you from certain perilous, not perilous, but like difficult situations considering he's like watching your backs a little bit.
86.
Okay, so you earn modest winnings from your gambling. You
Yeah.
actually end up recuperating your lifestyle expenses for the time spent carousing, and you gain 1d20 times 4.
There we go.
What?
So go ahead and roll 1d20 and multiply it by 4, and you get that much gold from your winnings.
36 gold. All right.
That's
Pretty
pretty
good.
good. Harold Alcantara. You make a small fortune while gambling. You recuperate your lifestyle expenses for the time spent carousing, and you gain 4d6 times 10 gold.
Uh, I didn't roll.
Damn.
That's pretty good. You get 110 gold.
Nice.
You're carousing along with Zusanu, who was your wingman on this. Har har har. Is actually becoming the stuff of legend, and this actually takes the course of like it turns into the whole 10-day for the two of you. So you're with Renair, you're with Floon, the four of you at the very least most of the time, along with Volknar, who we'll come to in a moment. Are having a grand old time across the city. You're winning card game after card game. You're like killing it at craps. You have this just like epic streak. And a lot of the time, Alistair is like scoping out the scene, just making sure nobody's gonna put a knife in your back because they're pissed because you keep winning. Volknar.
Oh God. This was my idea.
Please roll me a 1d4.
This is how many fingers you lose.
Faulkner's. He's just butt chugging.
Okay.
So
Please
how much
describe to
butt
me.
chug?
Please describe to me the situation that ended up with you in jail for 2 days.
I lost like too many times at the craps table. I started some beef with the dealer, and then he
Should
told me that I sucked, and I punched him in the face. Wait,
should have just flipped the table or something.
And at the end of this like semi little brawl, you were taken away by the city watch. If you would like, you can pay 10 gold to avoid the jail time for the disturbance that you caused, or you can spend the 2 days in jail. It's up to you.
I'm just gonna spend the 2 days in jail. I mean, like,
Gotcha. And it causes you to lose track of where your friends are. They go carousing across the entire city. You end up back at Prestige Worldwide, licking your wounds.
It's like The Hangover, where we were having all the fun and you were burning up on the roof.
I think that's pretty accurate in this sense. That is like roughly your 10-day for that. If there are other things you guys like would like to do, go ahead and give a shout.
I'd probably sneak off and do that side quest, the scarf, the
Oh, yeah.
handkerchief.
Sure.
I mean, you're not gonna break me out of jail, man.
Alistair. So funny enough, Alistair went to get you out of jail, and then I'm gonna say that he didn't really see what happened, so he heard hearsay from the guards, and then was gearing up to pay your bail, and then decided not to. It'd be better to leave you there for 2 days.
It's too bad we weren't in like the North Ward where I have all these guard friends.
Right?
You guys were probably down in the docks at that point.
And then Alistair tips the guards just a single gold piece and is like, "Yeah, take good care of him for me, though, would you, mates?"
The food that you do get, Volknar, is quite like it's not been spit in, which is probably an improvement.
Voltar still eats. He doesn't care. He's hungry. He needs the strength in case he's gonna fight some guards, or if he meets trouble in the prison. He needs his energy.
Gotcha. Alistair, finding a noble,
Hmm.
not difficult. There are plenty of nobles all about Waterdeep. It's more about the sort of noble that you might be interested in taking a handkerchief off of.
Um. Hmm. I mean, it's cold this time of year, right?
It is.
Okay. I suppose I would probably go somewhere by the water where there might be a significant breeze compared to the rest of the city.
Okay,
Someone
so you could
perhaps may get a stuffy nose, needs wiping.
you can either go down to the dock ward or you can go to the sea ward on the northern side of the city, and you can try to get to a place where they overlook the ocean. And so your options there are to either find some sort of noble overseeing work in the dock ward, or a noble who maybe went for a walk on the mudflats through the western gate.
I'd say whichever I think would be more likely. So I'd say
Probably.
probably people working, maybe more likely of an occurrence than just a random walk.
Okay. So going down through the dock ward, just give me a quick perception check.
Sure.
Okay. And so it takes you some time to find a noble directing work, but you do eventually find one. He is a stuffy, overweight, middle-aged to like elderly, not elderly, but like 55, 60 years old, um, gentleman who has a ruff around his neck. You suspect that he probably has a handkerchief in one of his pockets somewhere. You're not fully sure. He is pointing, directing, marking things off on a piece of parchment on a clipboard, and then standing. He's specifically standing near a not a barrel fire, but like a wooden oh gosh, I don't know how to describe this. Besides, it's just like you know how a torch with a metal sconce on the top is
Mhm.
lined by like iron and bound with like an iron binding around it so that it like holds it together.
Sure, yeah.
It's like a big barrel essentially with like wood and lumber tossed into it to create a fire so he can keep warm near that.
Yep.
So he's by this fire keeping warm. So he's not wearing as much clothing as everyone else. And the wind's not bad today, but nonetheless, he's directing work and traffic.
Okay. Well, I guess if Alistair thinks he's made his mark, he'll try to approach him and get that handkerchief off him.
Okay. And you would like to just try to sleight a hand and slip it right off of him.
Yeah, just like if so, are they working like in a road or is it like off
So
to the side?
it's like right down by the docks, and he's
Mhm.
like directing people um, to bring crates and barrels and things onto a ship.
All right. Would it be how strange would it be if I were to just like walk by and bump into him?
Um, Not that strange. I mean, you could try to pass it off as an accident.
Yeah, I think I'll do that and try to sleight of hand, see what I can find.
Sure. Go ahead and roll it.
Cool.
Okay, that's pretty good. Um, as you begin to walk towards him, you see a box on the ground, and you actually are able to grab it in one hand. Um, and as you get close, you like bump into him and go into a pocket and grab two things. One, you grab a piece of gold. Two, you grab a handkerchief. And as you extricate yourself and bump into him at the same time, you toss the box down in front of him and begin to profusely apologize, saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry, my lord. I'm so sorry. I wasn't paying attention where I was going. I was." And you can see that the box opens up, and then it's all these like pencils that spill out of it. And you say, "Oh, I was bringing you a fresh pencil. Somebody said you needed one, my lord." And he begins cursing and telling you to clean it up and get it onto the ship.
Or why? Alistair grins, walks away.
Gotcha. So you have the handkerchief. After either bringing the box or not, that's up to you, to the ship. Would you like to
No.
bring it?
No. Alistair discards it and walks away.
Gotcha. Let me just do one thing. He sees you discard it and says, "Hey, boy, that goes on the ship. Don't have me tell you again, or you're going to be fired." He turns away.
Alistair turns and bows, keeps walking.
Gotcha. And would you like to bring it to the tiefling girl in the crate at this point, or something else?
Yeah, might as well just do it all in one bang, one trip.
Okay. You drop off the handkerchief into the crate. She sort of pokes her head out as you drop it on top of her and says, "Cheerio." Closes the crate again on top of her. And you can hear like a rustling inside the crate.
Okay. Alistair kind of gives the crate a knock and walks off.
"Boy, I am home. You already know it."
Right. Well, have a good night then.
Good day. Are there other things folks would like to do for this last 10-day?
Where am I on my like apprenticeship?
I added an extra. I added enough time for you for another 10-day. You probably have a little less than 2 more 10 days, so you're getting. I'd say you're like 2/3 of the way through.
Okay. Almost there.
One thing that we have missed just based on time would be scoping out wherever it is that the lycanthropes come out of. And so obviously I'll hold off until Aerith is back for that. Just double checking my notes to see if there's any other things that I need to interject with here. That would take too much time. I mean, we could end it 10 minutes early here. I think that probably makes the most sense between like the one thing I have planned as well as like where everything's going next. Is that cool with you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure. Am I out of jail?
Yes, you're out of jail. Yep,
Okay.
you're out of jail. You're home.
Yeah, chill.
Oh yeah, and we
Well-
all had long rests, I assume, at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
No,
Okay.
you're still exhausted.
Come on.
And we'll pick it up here next week. I'll try to start with Aerith and Harold scoping out the location that the lycanthropes described.
Did anyone else volunteer to go?
Yeah, Alistair would have gone with that because he was there when.
Well, I was just gonna. I just remembered that I was I have to tell you guys I'm not gonna be here next week. I forgot. I'm going to Disney,
Oh,
Oh.
nice.
so I'm gonna be
Wow.
like landing. So I don't know if I'll be able to get on, but obviously I want you guys to play. I'll probably be listen to the. I might log in and listen, but I probably won't be able to participate.
No
I
worries.
mean, there'll
Okay.
be a VOD, or not a VOD,
Yeah,
but
I know. I mean, I'll be watching the. I'll definitely watch it.
Cool.
But
So then,
just a heads up. So don't
yeah,
don't
And we'll
proceed
find people
without
to
me.
go with
Is
them.
what I'm saying.
we can totally do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll jump in the following week.
Yeah, so we'll jump in there with Alistair, quote unquote Harold, and Aerith.
Sounds good.
Good game,
Nice.
guys.
I like that our business was a success.